Warriors, and welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be taking a look at the month of September. I just want to say here that I am a lot earlier than I planned to be. I was supposed to come on today at 6 p.m. BST, but I'm on here 50 minutes earlier. Firstly, partly because I have tomorrow off and I just want to try and get through the horoscopes earlier. And another reason is because I'm kind of tired today. Tired, uh, just feeling a bit sluggish. And coming out of the full moon in Pisces, of course, the full moon was at its strongest in the early hours of the morning here. And I just woke up today feeling quite tired. And basically, these are my reasons. Not that I need to give reasons, but here we are. I hope you're doing well today, and I'm looking forward to sharing this information about September. Now, another thing I just want to mention before we get into this is if you have not seen the collaboration that I did with Jasmina, we went live together yesterday. We talked a great deal about the upcoming autumn equinox. So, we looked at September and we addressed Mercury direct, Venus direct as well. Yeah, Venus direct is going to be happening in the next few days. But all of this is to say, definitely make sure that you watch that video, check it out. A lot of really valuable information there. I will link it down below actually after this stream. And so I think that's me. Of course, do make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, click the notification bell, all that good stuff. Seriously, do click the notification bell because it means that you keep updated with content and everything. So, all right, so let's get into September. September, such a great month. I have a Virgo rising, and I feel like with September, I come alive. The sun, of course, crossing from that 12th house into the first house. It's like an awakening, a rebirth. I just love it. I love September. I love autumn. Definitely my favorite season. What is your favorite season? Let us know. Let me just adjust my headphones because they're really annoying me. um, yeah, what is your favorite season? Hello, Victoria. Hi. You cannot wait for September. There's a lot of really valuable changes coming up throughout September, which I'm sure you'll be glad to know, especially because of all of the retrogrades we've been experiencing. Not saying that that is a bad thing, not saying retrogrades are bad or negative. And it's just that I think that coming out of the retrograde season, it will feel a lot more fresh. And then amazing nature. Hello, you did a little heart, but hello to you. Yeah, fall. Oh yeah, fall. Yeah, he calls autumn fall in. Is it in the States, Canada area? Is that it? I'm not quite sure. But anyway, so September. Let's get into this. I just want to remind you though about some products that I have available. So you can find all of my products there by going to my website, hannahselsewhere.com. There are ebooks available, guides, cheat sheets, merch, all that good stuff. I also have an Etsy shop. So, yes, you can find all of those products. And if you are interested in booking a reading with me, you can do so by going to my website as well, hannahselsewhere.com. Lottie, you said autumn, definitely your favorite. I think autumn seems to be a lot of people's favorites. Um, Odiet, you say spring is your favorite season? Because rainy season? April showers. April showers. I think of the Bambi movie. Drip, 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 not that I know the words, but I just remember that little melody. Little April shower. Oh, it's so cute. It's so cute. Anyway. These are some of the important dates that we're going to be going through today. So, as I say, Venus is going to turn direct, and that's going to happen from the 3rd of September. And then Jupiter is also going to begin its retrograde there the day after, and that's going to be in Taurus. Then we actually have a few asteroids moving this month, which I think is really cool. So, There's Pallas entering Libra, Vesta entering Cancer, Ceres entering Scorpio. So we're going to get into that. Then there's also the new moon in Virgo, which will be approaching. And I think with this new moon in Virgo, it's going to be, of course, the final new moon before we enter a new season. And I mean that in terms of like the four main seasons. Okay, I'm not just talking about astrological seasons here. Of course, astrology is largely to do with the seasons, but yeah, so basically it's going to be the final new moon before we enter a new season. Even considering how the full moon in Pisces is the final full moon before entering a new season, so that's quite a significant thing to keep in mind too. Then Mercury will turn direct, also in Virgo, the day after the new moon in Virgo takes place. And then Libra season begins, autumn equinox. Happy autumn equinox, everyone. I'm sure those who are watching this at a later point, you're watching it throughout September. You could even be watching it from the 23rd of September onwards. So, yes, happy autumn equinox. Such a great time of year. Time to embrace some balance, restore the balance in our lives. And then lastly, we're going to be addressing the full moon in Aries, which will be taking place at the very, very end of the month. That's going to be on the 29th of September. Chris, you said you love autumn and everything pumpkin spice, everything nice. Yeah. So tomorrow, with it being the 1st of September, I'm going to go get a pumpkin spice latte. Yes, tomorrow, going to do my autumn decorating, get a pumpkin spice latte, probably watch Gilmore Girls, because Gilmore Girls is just so autumnal, isn't it? Nostalgia. Nice. Cannot wait. So yes, and I would love, love, love to make some pumpkin goods, some treats, some baked goods with pumpkin in them. But yes, I agree with you, Chris. Anything pumpkin. Love it. Right, so let's get into Venus direct. So, as I said, this is going to be from the 3rd of September, and so Venus is going to continue its journey throughout the sign of Leo up until the 8th of October, when it moves into Virgo. Now, with that being said, the post shadow period of Venus is right up until the 7th of October, so the day before. So it's safe to say that whilst Venus continues the rest of its journey throughout Leo, there's a lot of reflecting. It's really about, mulling things over, just checking to see, what did I learn from Venus retrograde? What came up for me? What changed? How have I grown? And then that's the thing. It says there, what I said there, what did you learn from, Hannah? Errors. What did you learn from Venus retrograde? And of course, with Venus being retrograde in Leo, so many themes to do with romance, passion, desire, attention, play, love, but also, thinking about reconnecting with or re-exploring your inner child. Now, of course, with the inner child, that can be a painful thing. Okay, that can be quite a confronting thing. It's like, oh, well, you know what? When I really think about it, I didn't get to be a child, or I didn't get to experience those types of things. There can be a lot of grievance, actually, I think, in this way when we really reflect. I think just in general, retrogrades can bring that grievance where, we are revisiting situations, or we are reflecting on the past, and then we have these memories, or we have these sudden realizations where it's like, I didn't get that. I didn't have that. That's really sad. So, there's that side, I think, to this. But then, of course, to look at this in a more positive light, this could very well be, maybe you're like myself in that you've been watching classic movies. I know for me, those classic Disney movies I've been watching whilst Venus has been retrograde in Leo. I love it. I love watching those movies. I've gotten so emotional. It's so nostalgic. But those feelings are so great. But yes, consider that for yourself. Consider how you have reconnected with your inner child, or looking at the things that you used to enjoy, the things that you loved whenever you were younger, the things that you did before the world told you that you couldn't do that, or before you felt like you shouldn't because of insecurity or because of awkwardness or people thinking you're cringe, etc., etc. Inner child stuff, certainly, with Venus retrograde in Leo. But then also looking at matters to do with the heart. Now, again, matters to do with the heart can be, it can be uplifting, it can be sweet and romantic, but it can also, look at where we feel like we've been hurt in terms of our hearts, where we ache, the people or things that we yearn for. And it's like, well, we can't have those people or those things back again. This type of stuff. But it's interesting because what I've noticed is, well, this is something that me and Jasmine were talking about yesterday with Venus Direct. So there was the conversation about many people breaking up during the Venus retrograde, right? And then there was that Uranus square, of course, that happened. And there's still going to be a Venus Uranus square when Venus does turn direct. But yes, I digress. There's still, I think, the part of Venus retrograde that can suggest the rekindling. I've noticed this in terms of the people I would watch online, and the way there's just, of course, we're just open to millions and millions of people today. But anyway, the rekindling of an old flame, and the reigniting of a love interest, people getting back together. So people who may have had a fling or they had a short-term relationship years and years ago, I've noticed that during the Venus retrograde, they're getting together, So there's that, I think, that can happen during Venus retrograde. So perhaps this has been a theme for you if you're watching this. But again, that goes back to matters to do with the heart. And so the thing then to keep in mind is, during Venus retrograde, what did you gain and what did you shed? How were you reborn during the inferior conjunction when the Sun and Venus retrograde made that conjunction back on the 13th of August, which feels like it was so long ago now. But what happened there? How were you reborn romantically? How were you reborn in terms of your creativity, your inner child, looking at play, enjoyment, entertainment? And then with Venus and Juno, okay, because the thing about this is Venus and Juno are going to make this loose conjunction right up until uh, Venus does eventually enter Virgo. So with Venus and Juno, there will be the square to Jupiter retrograde throughout September. So try to remember back to when Venus retrograde made a square to Jupiter direct. And this was from around about the 18th of August up until the end of August. So considering, for example, where you go overboard, where you can overdo it, where you can be overindulgent, overspending, all the over things, over the top things to do with Jupiter, because Jupiter likes to expand whatever it touches, but then it can also look at greed or just not knowing one's limits. Okay. But then also looking at your commitments. And I think that commitments can be challenged in this way with Jupiter, especially with Jupiter square Juno. And that's the thing, Juno will square Jupiter retrograde throughout September as well. Keep in mind the relationship that Hera and Zeus had. That was a disaster. But anyway, so, okay, I just want to give context to that. So my understanding of this is Zeus and Hera, they were an item, but Zeus would go off on all these escapades with many goddesses and everything. I mean, Zeus got around, okay? Zeus got around. But the thing is that Hera remains so completely devoted and committed to Zeus, even though he was out there cheating and doing all these things. So all of this is to say, this square could very well look at these types of behaviors, and that doesn't just have to be in terms of being unfaithful, looking at infidelity. Of course, it can do. I mean, Juno can look at infidelity. Okay, so there is that betrayal, how we retaliate whenever people do hurt us, etc., etc. But this could also be in a way where, how are we portraying ourselves, right? How are we portraying our own values, our own priorities, our own sense of self-worth? Thinking about these matters, right? Where it's like, maybe I really do need to have a conversation with myself in terms of how much I'm overdoing it here, these types of things. Then also Venus and Juno will make that square to Uranus retrograde. So on that note, remember Venus retrograde square Uranus direct, that was around mid-August. The thing is that, oh my goodness, throughout this Venus retrograde, just throughout the summer, like so many people breaking up and realizing just what isn't working. Of course, with breaking up, that's not necessarily like a bad thing, right? But I just think it's perhaps Uranus square Venus retrograde has brought up many sort of revelations where it's like it's a sin to be with this person. It's I can't. This is not going to work. Or just even thinking about the sudden changes, right? And something just being so sudden, and you're flabbergasted. You're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. But you can even apply this to your financial position, your value system, friendships, right? Certain friendships breaking up or falling apart or being redirected, so to speak. Or even thinking about certain business deals, business relationships not going according to plan, contracts, agreements, documents not being signed in time, or just all these sudden freaking things to do with our financial landscape over the summer. It's like, whew, my gosh, the chaos. So just trying to remain steady and calm throughout the chaos is essential. Of course, easier said than done. But basically, this is what we're noticing with Venus retrograde square Uranus. But then as Venus and Juno make that square to Uranus retrograde throughout September, we're going to notice more of these themes. Or it's that in terms of the unexpected, it could flip around, right? Where it's like something that was so unexpectedly chaotic, where things were falling apart, then it's unexpectedly turning in our favor, right? Even with Jupiter retrograde, you never know. You never know when it comes to Uranus. It could be for the better or for worse, but neither is good or bad, right? It just depends on your situation. Okay, and then the last thing I want to mention there, of course, just keep in mind that new moon in Leo that we experienced on the 16th of August. What intentions did you set when it came to the likes of your values, when it came to the likes of romance, fun, play, pleasure, all these Leo themes that we talked about? Let me see here. Odette, you said you can't wait for Halloween. Oh my gosh, yeah. Halloween. It's so good. Halloween's the best. Halloween is the best. I never dress up. I never dress up because I never can like I can't justify it, spending loads of money for one evening. But what I can justify is buying nice Halloween decorations, because then I can keep them each year. And then also the food. The food. Me and my partner love just watching our favorite horror movies on Halloween night, having loads of Halloween food, and yeah, just chilling. Chilling. It's so nice. I hope, you all have a nice Halloween. We'll talk about it more, obviously, closer to the time. But yeah, such a good time. Dee, you said you love fall, your favorite time of year. Oh, you're a Virgo. Okay. You're a Virgo. You do get a burst of energy. You love all the burr months. Is like burr months, that burr is as in like cold, chillier months? Is that what that means? But yeah, that makes sense. Christina, hello Hannah. All you lovely people. Yes. And then you said you're a Leo with a Leo rising. Pluto entered your seventh, yes, in Aquarius. And then you have your North Node there as well. Well, what will it mean for you? We're not really taking questions today. But thank you for sharing that information. Odette, you said you have wings for your costume. Ooh, cool. All right, so moving on to Venus conjunct Juno. Like I said, Venus will make this conjunction. There will be a loose conjunction to Juno throughout the rest of September, but there will also be same degree conjunctions throughout as well, during certain moments. But then the thing about this is there will be the sextile to Mars. Who is enjoying Mars in Libra right now? Who is enjoying it? Martina, you said burr months, September onwards. It's like September, like burr. Hannah. Okay, I get it. Thank you. Takes me a while to click on. Okay, so thank you so much. All right. So with Mars in Libra, I think has ushered in such a good energy in that, well, okay, let's think about it. Like, let's think about all of the energy in Virgo right now. And even with Mars being in Virgo, that was just so much Virgo. That was so much about being in our heads, being critical, being harsh with our words, picking ourselves apart, these types of things. Of course, there are benefits to Virgo as well. Okay, looking at improvement, looking at how we can focus more on our health, looking at being of service, being helpful, being useful, putting, putting our skills to good use, refining our skills, all of these lovely things. Okay, but I just think with Mars moving away from Virgo and into Libra, that was actually very helpful. I think, with the full moon being in Pisces, because it balanced it out a little bit, right? Like, it was Virgo, or sorry, there's Libra with balance again. So yeah, Mars in Libra has certainly ushered in some more balance for us, and that's what I love. I think about the Virgo Libra pair. I love that it ushers in a time period to balance. We move from those personal signs to those like more interpersonal signs in the zodiac. Um, and yeah, we just take more time to consider, okay, what other options have I not explored? And then I think as well with Libra energy, what's really useful about Libra energy? It's the fact that like you can take a lot of the focus off yourself and put it on to other people. And that's really beneficial, isn't it? When you think about it, it's like you don't have to do it alone. You don't have to do life alone. You can more so just direct your energy onto somebody else rather than it being all dependent on you. So that can be helpful. So like I said, with the sextile to Venus and Juno, so this is going to happen throughout September. And these themes, then, what we're noticing with this are these themes surrounding the likes of love, desire, unity, partnership, agreement, relatability. What's coming to my mind with this is, so if we consider how Venus is the dispositor of Mars, it's also the dispositor of Jupiter and Uranus, okay, because Venus rules both Libra with Mars there, and then um Taurus with Jupiter and Uranus there. And then, of course, the South Node is also in Libra. So we consider the Venus retrograde. I think it can look at all of the reassessing then to do with these more relationship, contract agreement, business related matters, these types of things. But more in a way where it's like, well, what do I want, right? With Leo, like, what is my heart saying? What do I really want? What lights me up, right? What is my passion? What am I truly, truly interested in? But then you see with the Mars energy being in Libra and then with Venus moving direct, I think this is going to usher in a time period where it's like, right, okay, it's time to sign those contracts. It's time to reach agreements with people. Maybe during Venus retrograde, there was a lot of this sort of sorting out, right? Even with Mercury retrograde right now, this is still happening. This is going to continue to happen throughout September. It's like let me just see. Let me assess what is and what isn't working and who's on my side and who do I want to work with and what type of partnerships do I want to be a part of? Do I feel happy in this relationship? There's still this sort of analytical stuff going on. So I think with the direction of Venus and coming into September, this is going to bring more clarity. And as we move further and further toward Libra season, the things our mind, sorry, is going to become much more clear. The decisions we make are going to be a lot more clear and rational, provided, of course, we do not give into the whole Libra thing of people pleasing or sacrificing our own needs, or not kind of addressing situations head on. So there can be that part to Libra as well. But still, there's a moving forward basically with this. And then also looking at commitment, marriage, proposals, possibly the energies is like marriage, commitment. These things are so loud, I feel, with with Juno, Venus, sextile to Mars, and Libra, relationships. Like, yeah. And then even looking at any love, contract, or business delays. There we go. I said it. Becoming clearer, right? It's all going to become clearer. And do you know what? We're going to come out of this retrograde season, especially Mercury and Venus, right? Because they're the personal planets. So they're the ones I think that are impacting us the most because they're so personal, right? But we're going to come out of this retrograde season and we're going to be like, oh my gosh, yes, things may not have went to plan. Yes, there were many delays, but you know what? We made it through. I got through this. And there were so many lessons that I learned. There's so much that I actually gained from those retrogrades, so many. So consider that in terms of your own life. Then also looking at nobility, loyalty, dignity here, being cooperative, harmonious, seeing the other side of the coin, seeing other people, working with other people, collaborating, and then looking at strength and confidence and being rational and being intelligent. Oh my gosh, Libras can be such intelligent people. If you've got loads of Libra energy in your chart, my gosh, you can be highly intelligent. And then also looking at that give and take, the exchange, sharing. Libra loves to share, but it's about fairness as well. And it's also about being able to reach a compromise if need be, if that can be reached, of course. But many conversations perhaps are to be had in order to really understand, right? Okay, like, what do you think? And this is what I think. And you have that sort of exchange. And then, like I said, there are breakups as well. Of course, the South Node is still in Libra there too. And then, you know what, coming to realizations where it's like, I'm going to go at it alone. And that's okay too, right? That's okay too, to come to a conclusion of like, you know what, I'm going to be single for a while. You know what? I realized during the Venus retrograde that there's just certain people that I'm not aligning with right now in terms of partners, in terms of friendships, in terms of certain businesses. I'm not aligning with them. So I'm going to move forward with that knowledge, with that understanding, and I'm just going to be single for a while. I'm just going to kind of, be content in that. And then who knows what other opportunities could come later on. Okay, so Jupiter then is going to go retrograde, and this is going to start from the 4th of September up until the end of the year, basically. And it will travel then from 15 to 5 degrees. And the pre shadow period started around the 11th of June. So a lot of reflection happening, or kind of more so getting ready for this retrograde. I think many of us have a fair understanding about the types of things we will be revisiting with respect to our finances, resources, security, all that good stuff, being patient when it comes to these things, looking at our talents, our skills, etc., etc. But the thing, of course, is consider, do you have any personal planets around these degrees? Any angular points around these degrees, especially looking at you fixed signs, looking at Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius. Yeah, because you're most likely going to feel this the most, and you are feeling this the most. So, yeah, but as I say, with personal planets, it's going to especially be more personal then. Then also consider here Uranus, which will retrograde from so it's actually already began its retrograde, sorry. So that's from the 28th of August, right, up until January 2024. So that's going to travel from 23 degrees to 19 degrees. So again, see if you have any personal planets around these degrees in the sign of Taurus, but then also looking at those oppositions, those squares. I do have a video up of more detail about these retrogrades. So if you want to know more, of course, I understand there's still trines, thinking about Virgo, thinking about Capricorn, who may have a bit of an easier time, perhaps, but check that video out. I'll link it at the very end. Okay. I'll link that video down below because there is a lot more detail. Now, with that, this is what I love astrology. I love seeing these connections. I just get so excited. So this is the thing that I really find fascinating about this retrograde, is that it's traveling from that 15 to 5 degree point. Of course, yes, I mean, retrogrades, the planet isn't actually moving backwards. But anyway, I digress. It's going from that 15 to 5 degrees. But the thing is that Mercury also did back from the 21st of April to the 14th of May, 2023. Okay, so this year, Mercury was retrograde in Taurus from these degrees. So this means that Jupiter is also making the same like journey, so to speak, and it's coming along and it's going, what's the higher meaning there? What's the higher meaning? about the things that you learned on a more logical level back from April to May. Yeah. So really, really interesting stuff. And this is why I do suggest watching the video about this, because there's more detail, more information. And then the thing, of course, is at 2 days after Mercury did turn direct in Taurus back then, what happened? Jupiter entered Taurus. Ugh, 16th from the 16th of May. I swear this year, it's crazy. It's just been like boom, 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 boom. Just it has been such like an active astrological year. So much happening, so many changes. So that's interesting to think about. And then there was the square to Pluto retrograde. There was the grand fixed cross, right? Remember when Mars entered Leo? Okay. And back then it really was like, okay, right. There are many delays here, or we're having to really be patient here. And this has been something that's just stayed with us, I think, where it's like, okay, we're really having to be patient. We're really having to kind of see what is and what isn't working. But then also, this is what I've said over and over. It's the whole thing of what have we taken for granted in the past? Really? Like, what did you take for granted before all of this started happening? Because this is the thing. When it comes to certain challenges, I think this is when we really do waken up to the things that we did take for granted, because I suppose that makes sense when you take things for granted, because you're just so used to having it, so familiar, you're so comfortable with it. So I think perhaps this is pointing toward, okay, wake up here and see, what you do have and what is working for you and what you're really good at and what you can overcome, and that you're stronger than you think. And I remember there was a subscriber who mentioned under the recent video about how with the fixed energy, it's been very strengthening, and that makes sense. That does make sense. If we consider with even the thought of a cross, right? That's a very like structured shape. It's very sturdy, it's very stable. Even Taurus energy, the fixed signs, I guess, in general, very like fixed, and Taurus especially, it's like, I am here, this bull, I'm 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 sitting here and I'm steady. And also that fixed earth, looking at being grounded and stable, etc., etc. Of course, with Uranus and Jupiter and everything else, it's just kind of felt like there's been a lack of that stability and that security. Um, but I do still think that with the grand fixed cross, it's giving an opportunity for us um to kind of see, okay, how can we re-strategize, or how can I grow here? There is that strengthening quality to it. Oh, and the other thing I just want to mention here too, just before we close off with this, there's going to be a lunar eclipse in Taurus coming. We'll talk more about it closer to the time. And then the thing about this as well is both Uranus and Jupiter are going to conjunct April 2024. I talk about that in the recent video. So yeah, definitely check it out. I'll link it down below after as well. So like I said, there's going to be some asteroid shifts happening. So we're going from Pallas in Virgo, Vesta in Gemini. So they'll reach that 29-degree point, the karmic degree, on the 11th of September, before they then move into Libra and Cancer. So we're going from specifics versus ideas to justice versus nurturing. Okay, there's still this square going on. And I just think in general, of course, think about how Virgo and Gemini, they're both Mercury ruled. So more about the mental plane, more about even just communication in general, right? So yeah, looking more at those mental or those Mercury ruled signs. So going from them then to Libra and Cancer, who, these signs are more about like family, relationships, home, socializing, like quality time, these types of things. So yeah, we're going to see these changes, I think, with these asteroids. But then the thing as well is with the square, it's sort of like the goddess of battle, which is Pallas, clashing with the goddess of hearth, which is Vesta. So can we agree? Can we agree? Can we empathize with others? Can we listen? Can we truly sort of see where other people are coming from, or trying to understand where other people are coming from. Of course, with the squares energy, this can bring up, good things too, in that we can perhaps see, right, how can we discuss this? And there can be many things that come up then with respect to our relationships as these asteroids do move. And then from the 13th of September, Ceres will enter Scorpio. So the goddess of harvest, Ceres, entering the underworld. How fitting. Entering the underworld during Virgo season as well. You ever remember the story of Persephone, the mythology of Persephone? Where Hades takes her away, takes Demeter's daughter down into the underworld, and Demeter is so angry. She makes the entire world starve until she gets her daughter back. But then Hades tricks her. And then she becomes the goddess of the underworld. And then the thing is that she spends half of the year down in the underworld and then the other half up above. And it's very symbolic actually, in that it represents winter and summer. Well, the changing of the seasons, basically. Okay, autumn, spring. Uh, yeah, so she's sort of like this spring goddess, I guess you could say, half of the year, where then life is coming back to the earth, but then the other half of the year, she's down in the underworld and it's colder, and the animals are having to hibernate, and yeah, all the things to do with whenever it's super super cold. And so this to me, I think, is interesting because Ceres is tied to this myth, but then Scorpio is also tied to the god of the underworld, Pluto, Hades. So it could be then in this way, while Ceres is in Scorpio, it's more about, okay, protection. It's more about how we can look after ourselves emotionally, looking at gathering, what we can gather, looking at even the harvest, right, with autumn and everything. And I know that is different for people down in the southern hemisphere. It's a different way around. But yeah, I think it kind of points toward these themes. And then also looking at fertility. Ceres is strongly tied to fertility, motherhood. So many changes here, perhaps, to do with these things coming up with Ceres entering Scorpio. And then there will be the new moon in Scorpio, especially here in November. And then Mars will make a conjunction. Mars will be in Scorpio. And then also Ceres will be quite close. And then there will be an opposition to Uranus retrograde. Unexpected pregnancies. Be careful, folks. You don't want to get pregnant. Could happen, But then again, unexpected pregnancies could also be quite a blessing, right? If you don't expect to get pregnant and you really want to get pregnant, yeah, and that happens. Yeah, basically these are types of just some themes that I'm noticing, that I'm kind of thinking here. But then, of course, it's more than fertility. It's more than pregnancy. This could also be where there's greater intimacy and passion and desire and lust and just a really sexual energy. And I guess the thing about Virgo and Scorpio is making me think about their symbols, right? I talked about this recently. With Virgo, it's that M with the like crossed legs at the end, and then with Scorpio, it's the M with the little dagger. And so there's this whole, I suppose, stereotype where Scorpios are seen as more of the sexual ones, and then Virgos are more like, what is it, prude? Is it prude? Stuck up, sexually frustrated, these types of things. What? But you see, Virgos are actually very asexual people. I mean, they've got Aries in their eighth house, but yes, it's just that they're going to hide it more, or they're to be as direct, as open about it. So yes, basically, they can be just as frisky, so to speak, as Scorpios. Okay. They're just not going to talk about it so openly. Okay. But all of this is to say, with Ceres entering Scorpio, this welcomes greater intimacy. And that, of course, intimacy isn't just about the sexual stuff. Intimacy can also be on an emotional level, looking at privacy, secrecy, respect. Okay, if you want someone to keep something very private for you, if there's something that you wish to remain a secret, you don't want to share it, and that requires honesty and that requires loyalty. Okay, so yeah, Scorpio energy can very much be tied to these themes as well, which we could very well see this with Ceres entering Scorpio. But then the last thing I wanted to mention there is, of course, with Vesta and Ceres both entering water signs, much more of an emphasis on nurturance, okay? And then I think there will be that trine between these asteroids too. So that's just a little talk about asteroid shifts coming up. But then we move on to the new moon in Virgo, and that's going to be at 21 degrees on the 14th of September. And that is 3 in numerology. 3 is very engaging, curious, adaptable, communicative. Of course, Virgo is a Mercury ruled sign. Mercury, I'm pretty sure, will still be in Virgo. Yes, it definitely will be in Virgo during the new moon, too. So, a lot of that more curious, adaptable energy floating around during the new moon. But all of it is to plant new seeds, right? Planting new seeds to do with our health, to do with stress levels, our services, routines, habits, problem solving, looking at our day-to-day matters here with the new moon in Virgo. And then there will be the opposition to Neptune retrograde. That's going to be interesting. And then the trine to Uranus retrograde. We'll talk more about those aspects closer to the time, but I just wanted to show you just some of those aspects. Now, Mercury will turn direct the day after as well. And so we will still be reflecting heavily upon the details, upon our systems, looking at our bodies in terms of our physical body or our emotional body, just basically health in general, right? Looking at the mind, body, soul connection. And then with the new moon happening in Virgo, ask yourself, what did you shed back in March? What did you shed? Because there was a full moon in Virgo. And the thing is that Saturn entered Pisces on the same day. It's so just the connections here. We had the full moon in Pisces, Saturn in Pisces there as well. And then of course the sun being in Virgo. And now we're approaching this new moon in Virgo. But there was that full moon in Virgo, and then Saturn had just entered Pisces on the very same day. So yes, consider what did you shed with respect to these Virgo themes back in March. And then also there is looking at body, health, work related reset with full moons, especially, we can look at resets, shedding. So what did you shed? What did you reset then back then? So in March with respect to body, health, and work, etc. Then with the full moon in Pisces here, it has brought a karmic reset. And so if we then also consider this is the karmic reset from the 7th of March up until this new moon. And this is going to help lay the foundation for something more reliable, pure, and holy, so to speak, to be built. Looking at alchemy, looking at the whole thing of turning metal into gold, getting rid of anything that's not pure enough, anything that's not working, right? You think about Virgo energy, it rules the digestive system, helps us, get rid of all the toxins, all the things that are not good for our body. So, yes, uh, consider that. Consider just with this process how it is that we can improve, and consider how it is that we can move forward, knowing, okay, this is not working for me anymore. And I've been able to let that go. My goodness, the full moon in Pisces especially has been huge for shedding, huge for releasing. And I'm saying huge because this is Pisces energy. I mean, the last sign, Jupiter ruled, even just counting our blessings. And then this Virgo energy is going to come along with the new moon in Virgo. And I think it's going to be humbling. I think Virgo season in general is a very humbling season. Anyway, consider then this process, this alchemical process. So Mercury will turn direct from the 15th of September until the 4th of October when it will enter Libra. So the post shadow period is going to be up until the 30th of September. So consider throughout September, what did you learn? What did you learn from Mercury retrograde? Did you practice discernment? Did you use good judgment? I know for myself what I've been noticing whilst I've been on this live, my breathing. My breathing. I'm getting so out of breath. And I think it's because I am like, I'm trying to like speed through everything. And I'm like, breathe, Hannah. I just need to breathe. And then I have to ask myself, why is it that I'm trying to rush? I don't need to rush. Don't need to rush. So yeah, I think just Mercury retrograde and Virgo in general, you think about the body, you think about your health. This is such a good opportunity for us to really watch ourselves, to be that observer, to kind of go, how am I feeling right now? What is going on in my body? By the way, I just want to mention here as well, there is a noise. There's a loud bang happening outside. It's just across the street. There's stuff going on in the house across the street. I think they're getting stuff done to their house. So if you hear loud bangs, I do apologize. I do apologize. Right. So yes, did you use good judgment? Are you using good judgment right now? Are you practicing discernment? Matters to do with your mind and your body, thinking even about your own mental health. Are you looking after yourself throughout this Mercury retrograde? Truly, are you looking after yourself? And any projects you're finishing? Any projects are you finishing up? Anything that you're wanting to reassess then when it comes to certain intellectual matters, projects that you're working on. I know for me, I'm trying to focus more on freshening up my website. And that isn't necessarily like a big new thing, a big new project, but it's, kind of seeing what little tweaks, can I make to make those improvements. This is very Virgo. So consider here any projects that you're finishing up, or what projects did you finish when Mercury does turn direct? And how productive was your communication? And then with Venus and Juno, they're going to enter Virgo this October. So whatever you revisited, whatever you are revisiting with Mercury retrograde in Virgo, that could come in handy. Remember that could be very useful. You think about Venus, especially in terms of, earnings, or earning potential, or resources. Virgo or Venus coming along and following that same path as Mercury retrograde, it's like, okay, that's a way to do it in order to make some extra money. For example, that's just one example. It could play out in many different ways. But of course, we will talk more about this transition in October. And then the last kind of part of this I want to mention is Mercury direct will then trine Jupiter retrograde and Uranus retrograde toward the end of September, and then Mercury retrograde trined Jupiter and Uranus direct at the end of August. So Venus did its thing with the retrograde and then direct, and Mercury's also doing the same thing. So with that, just a lot of practical matters, basically collectively overall Taurus energy being involved, Virgo energy being involved, so much about our resources, how we handle our daily routines, how we handle things at work, even just thinking about nature, our health, fresh air, getting outside, connecting with nature in this way. Even just considering your value system, how you look after your body, how much you value yourself, these types of things, very much about just those more practical matters. But, just I would say with the body, of course, our body is a vessel, and it needs to be looked after with care and support and nurturance and nourishment. So yeah, I think Taurus and Virgo point toward these themes. So Libra season is going to begin from the 23rd of September. So happy autumn equinox, everyone. So we're going to be going from being detail orientated during Virgo season to being aesthetically focused, right? Stylish, making things look beautiful, making them look really, really nice. Yes, we gotta love that about Libra. We gotta love it. And then also from being dedicated and painstaking during Virgo season to socializing and shining a light on others, okay? Other people, seeing others, valuing them, relating to them, sharing with them. Oh my gosh. There was I can't remember the quote, or who I heard it from, but it was basically to say that there's only so much self-awareness you can do, before you realize that you need other people. I think Libra is so amazing in this way, in that, yes, okay, we can be independent and we can focus on ourselves, and improve upon ourselves, or even see what we can achieve in a solo way. But other people are like, we need other people. Other people can be strengthening in this respect. They can be super supportive, and we can learn so much from others. We can look at even parts of ourselves which we may not think are a part of ourselves, right? But they are, and they're reflected back to us through other people. I love this about Libra. I love it. And then also, Pallas and Mars will be in Libra throughout Libra season, or sorry, throughout September. My apologies. And so, yeah, looking at justice, fairness. You consider how they both fight in their own way, or they both protect in their own way, Pallas and Mars. I'm pretty sure Pallas Athene and Aries, they battled, and Pallas Athene beat Aries or Mars. Don't quote me on that. But I'm pretty sure I read that somewhere. I'll probably look more into the mythology, which we're getting into the whole series about the mythology of the signs very, very soon on the channel, which I'm so excited for. But all of this is to say that both Pallas Athene and Mars, there's so much about protection in their own ways, the ways in which they fight. Pallas, I suppose, is much more strategic. I think the story of Pallas Athene is hilarious. Just being born from Zeus's head. I mean, it's just so disturbing. It's just so weird. Mythology. You gotta love it. Mythology. Not all of it, though. Not all of it. Some of it is really, really, really like unsettling. Let's just say that. So, yes, Pallas can be such much more strategic. I suppose Mars could also be strategic in its own way. And I think, especially with Mars being in Libra, very strategic. Which, Mars and Pallas being in Libra, very rational, level headed, calm. Okay, you're not going to be able to fool someone who has Mars and Pallas in Libra. And then there's also the ability to weigh the pros versus the cons. So that's a good opportunity during Libra season and throughout September. And then finding purpose in exchange and sharing. Venus, of course, being the dispositor, that's going to be direct, like I was saying. So it's going to invite forward movement with respect to negotiation, business, agreements, relationships. It's like, let's move forward. Yes. And we can also, this is the thing that I just want to mention at the very end, we can also be overly concerned about others. That's something to be careful of. Keep in mind that the sun does fall in Libra, and the south node also being in Libra. Just be cautious of being overly concerned about others, where it's like, what about you? What about you? And then you also don't want to fall into the trap of just pushing something to the side. Oh, I'll do that later, and then you explode. We don't want that. You don't want that. No. Okay, so the last part of September that I want to go over with you today before we get into your horoscopes, which is quite good that I started early because it's now 6:05. Okay, so 6 degrees, full moon in Aries. This is going to be on the 29th of September. So this, looking at the number 6 in numerology, this is a moon of creativity, art, support, and healing. This is a moon of forward movement, direction, and it will oppose Pallas in Libra. Keep in mind that the North Node is also in Aries, the South Node is in Libra. And I think that it's so beneficial to be able to see where the other person is coming from, especially during this full moon, especially coming into Libra season. This is about the self versus the other. So, it could be that there's some run-ins, it could be that certain disagreements occur, conflict, but it's how you handle that conflict. And the thing about conflict too is it's not necessarily a bad thing, it's not a negative thing. You could even argue that many Aries people would say that conflict is where you can reach a resolve in this way, because you're able to truly express how you feel. And then with the Libra part of it, you can come together and go, okay, right, that is you, and this is me, and this is why you're angry. This is why you're upset, and this is also why I'm angry and why I'm upset. And you try to just try to find a common ground. Sometimes that is not possible though, and I get that. But yeah, this is what we learn from Aries and Libra, and then especially with Aries, yeah, basically conflict can be useful. It can be helpful. This is also an opportunity to be honest and truthful, even if others do disagree. It's like saying, "No, this is my opinion on this." Mm, That's it. That's all there is to it. And I guess this is the whole thing too. It's like not everybody's gonna like us in life. Not everyone's gonna like you. And you start to kind of give into the whole thing of people pleasing. Just be cautious. I'm saying that. I would consider myself to be a major people pleaser, which I I don't feel happy about it. I don't like saying that. I'm the type of person who will keep a conversation going even though I need to leave. Like, why? Like, I didn't want to upset the other person. No, Hannah, it's just because you didn't want to have to deal with that emotion within yourself. That's why. I'm like, oh, damn. Yeah, right. Okay. Okay, moving on. Releasing being overly headstrong. Okay, that's a thing. And then you know what? Whilst yes, the North Node is an Aries and it's pointing toward independence and leadership, and we're noticing with Saturn and Neptune going to enter Aries over the next couple of years, there will be more of a focus on our independence and leadership. But here is the thing that I just want to remind you of: the South Node in Libra. It is about balance. And this is the thing too, it's just to be cautious not to fall into the trap of just like, I don't need anybody, I don't need any friends, I don't need any partners, I don't need anyone. And okay, sure, everyone's different. Everyone has a different life. Everyone has a different path. They are living. They're living, and that's all fine. But I just think that there can be moments in life where it can appear as if we're so selfish, or it's like, no, I can do it all on my own, right? Where you don't accept help from anyone, you reject other people, and it's just like, whoa, okay, okay, okay. So those moments can happen basically. So I think this full moon in Aries is kind of coming along and it's going, yes, independence and freedom and self-discovery and following your own path. Yes, but also just consider that it's okay if you're able to say, I need other people. I want other people. I want to feel the connection with somebody else. I want to find friends who I really can relate to. I want to find a partner who I can marry or settle down with. That is okay. Yeah, I'm getting very passionate about this. just just balance, right? And that's the thing. Relationships can certainly add to our lives. Okay, reaping rewards as well, to do with leadership, to do with independence, right? To do with confidence, to do with taking risks. Because see, the other side of the coin is this, is being so dependent on other people where you don't want to rock the boat, or where you don't want to try something new and you're not willing to take that risk. It's like, no, I'm in my safe space, and I'm just gonna stay here. Just gonna stay here. I know that opportunity is there, and someone's inviting me to take that opportunity, and I would love to take it, but no, I'm just too scared. Like this is fine. I'm good over here. This is sort of where I fall into a little bit, I think, in my own life. Oh, so yeah, just these are possibilities. You have to kind of think even about the extremes when it comes to these signs. And those extremes can be detrimental. So yeah, basically consider the balance, consider how you can meet in the middle, and just reflect upon your own personal experiences. Give it context. It's always about your personal experiences when it comes to astrology, of course. So all of this is to say, possibly during this full moon, we will reap rewards to do with taking a risk, to do with confidence. And then also considering asking ourselves, what is holding you back from being a go-getter, from being a doer? What is holding you back from taking that position, taking that job, traveling to that country, being with that person, and joining the gym, whatever it is, what is holding you back? And then even looking here at resetting our motivations and resetting our goals. Now, reflect then. This is the thing I find so fascinating about Aries, especially with the North Node entering Aries. There was the new moon in Aries back in March 2023, right? 0 degrees. So, what intentions did you set then when it came to these Aries themes? But then there was also the solar eclipse at the end of Aries season, April 2023. 29 degrees. These are both karmic numbers, okay? Potent karmic numbers. So much here coming up to do with these Aries themes, like very significant. There's such a significance basically surrounding Aries and being brave and taking risks. I have a feeling, right? Thinking about just reflecting on my own experience with this, I have a feeling that where I'm going to be in the next 2 years, okay, this is interesting because the nodes are going to be in Aries and Libra up until 2025, but I do have a feeling I'm going to be in such a different position. It has not felt like it the past few months. It hasn't. I have went through these moments where it's like nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to get better. Nothing's going to improve. And I can go to those negative headspaces. Just being honest, I can be like that. But I still have a feeling that something just the next couple of years, things are going to be very, very different for me. I don't know what that is, but yeah, I just think the Aries energy is pointing toward just the adventure. Okay, taking a leap, being adventurous, being daring, being brave. And then of course there will be more eclipses happening. Okay, eclipses in Aries and Libra. All right, so that is the first part. Then we're going to get into your horoscopes. I'm just going to have a quick break, have some water. I hope you're enjoying this so far. Thank you so much for being here. I hope I haven't been rambling too much, going off on tangents too much, being too passionate maybe. Black Swan, Aries full moon will bring completion to the events. Yes, there will be some completions happening then tied to the solar eclipse, also tied to the new moon in Aries that we experienced. But then do keep in mind that there's going to be another eclipse in Aries. Let me just check the eclipses I have here. Okay, yeah, so there's going to be another solar eclipse 2024 in Aries. Yeah. So another eclipse is going to come. P Smart, you said you've got Sun and Mars and Ascendant plus Capricorn moon. Proper freak of nature. Oh my gosh. Venus and Uranus plus Scorpio. Crafting. Oh, you're a Capricorn. Jupiter return. Oh, so you're Jupiter return. You got Jupiter in Taurus. Hello, Jonathan from Scotland. Hi, hello to you. This explains why you had recent breakup and you lost your friends. Oh no. I'm sorry to hear that. Maybe it was, I don't know how you feel about that. Obviously, maybe it's for the better. I don't know. But yeah. Okay. So I'll get through Aries to the Libra and then we'll have another little break. And we'll go back and do the last 6. Okay. I'm going to try my very best. It has not been the most energetic day. I'm just feeling like, oh. Okay. I'm not complaining. I'm just, I'm just saying this is how I'm feeling today. Okay. So I just want to say before we do get into this as well that I will put the timestamps at the very, very end. So please do be patient with me. All right. So Aries. Okay, I'm just going to take some notes so I can follow along. Okay, Aries. So looking here at Virgo season. So Virgo season for you throughout September, I think that there is such a focus here on you wanting to re-strategize, reorganize with respect to, oh, hi, Pernell. We're going to take it back to the start, but hi, Pernell. I just had to say hello before I missed it. Okay, we're going to go back to the start, okay? So give context. Pernell is an Aries sun and moon. Okay, so Aries, throughout Virgo season for you, there is such a focus upon re-strategizing and reorganizing your daily habits, your daily routines. Okay, so there's a lot of those like little things you're having to attend to, the little minor things which may be annoying. But yeah, attending to those practical matters and just all the little minor things that can be improved. And with Mercury even being retrograde, good opportunity for you to, really reassess like how much you are looking after your health, for example, or reassessing your schedules, how it is that you spend your time, really looking at your schedules and your time management, and also any stress levels as well coming up. So we're going to notice this for you coming into September. And then, of course, there will be that new moon in your sixth house in September. So setting new intentions when it comes to these things as well. Okay. So that's going to be really, really helpful for you. And then the other thing I want to mention with this is coming into Libra season. So from the 23rd of September, okay, there will be Mars there. The South Node's also there. So I guess you could say that your close partnerships, your business deals, agreements, your collaborations, these things are going to be much more of a focus for you. And especially with Mars also being there, I mean, we're already noticing this where it's like, right, time to be a go-getter when it comes to my relationships, my partnerships, looking at contracts and agreements. But of course, the thing about this that I want to remind you of is that with Venus being retrograde throughout August, etc., there have been many delays then when it comes to these matters for you. But you see, Venus will be direct throughout September as well. And so with Libra season coming up and then Venus direct coming up in your fifth house, I just think that this looks at you moving forward when it comes to love, romance, play, when it comes to your creativity, and even how these things relate to your relationship goals, your partnership goals, okay? If we consider the sextile between Venus and Mars throughout September. But then the last area that I want to touch on for you is this first house area, okay? So you have the North Node there. So there will be the full moon happening in your first house at the very end of September. So closing this month, I think that there's going to be a huge release for you then with respect to leadership, with respect to self-discovery, your aims, your goals, your ambitions, these types of areas. And this could be really beneficial for you. And I think especially for you, Aries, because of course you are the sign that likes to move forward the most out of all of the other signs. Well, I wouldn't even necessarily say that you like it. It's just instinctive. But yeah, I would say that with retrograde season being the way it is, it can be perhaps you can be one of the most so basically you're challenged the most by all of this in terms of retrogrades. So I think this is going to be quite refreshing for you because you're going to be able to move forward throughout September. Pernell, you said your first meal has been around 11:30. It used to be like half eight. Your body is rejecting it. Oh my gosh! So your eating habits have changed quite a bit. I wonder if they'll sort of go back to like an earlier way later on. But that's interesting how things have just sort of switched around for you like that. Peace, Mark, you say you've laid 200 blocks today, fueled off 2 Cornish pasties. Oh my gosh. Capricorn with Mars. Do you have your Mars in Capricorn? I have my Mars in Capricorn as well. And it's so weird. Like, I could probably just drink loads of coffee and do what you're sort of saying there. But I've been learning not to do that, to look after myself. Okay. So I want to just jot down the order that I did that in so then I can kind of have the same sort of momentum and order for all of the other signs. So we started with Virgo. Virgo, Mercury retrograde, and Libra season, new moon, Mars, Venus, and then moving over to the North Node, and then the moon, the full moon in Aries. Okay. All right. Okay, moving on to Taurus. So for you, Taurus, throughout Virgo season, coming into September, there is such a focus on pleasure and fun, right? Fun, the things that you do for enjoyment. Okay, just looking at having some time off, perhaps, or thinking here about um how you can reassess the things that you do for fun, maybe reconnecting with your inner child, reconnecting with an old hobby or habit, reconnecting with a sort of old way of entertaining yourself, so to speak, there, okay? And so, yeah, with Mercury retrograde, perhaps you've been sort of analyzing, kind of assessing, right? Okay, what is it that brings me joy and happiness, and what do I genuinely like to do? And is it that I even try to find any time in the day to, practice my craft? And you know what? Maybe being crafty, being artsy is just something that fuels you towards, right? You've got Virgo there in the fifth. So perhaps you really enjoy the likes of crafts, or self care is a big thing for you. So, yeah, reconnecting with these things in your own way, Taurus. And then there will be the new moon, which will happen in Virgo in your fifth house throughout September. So you will set intentions to do with these areas, all right? Planting new seeds to do with these areas that I talk about. And then coming into Libra season, with Libra season, with the sun moving into your sixth house, well, with Mars already being there in Libra, I think for you, Taurus, it's very much been about restoring the balance, okay? Your energy levels, restoring the balance there, or looking at the whole work-life balance. I mean, my gosh, this is you, Taurus. I love this about looking at the signs and seeing the connections. But yeah, I think for you, Taurus, you're the types of people who seek that work-life balance in your lives. We notice this with Libra in the sixth house for you. So with Mars there, I think there is a stronger push, a stronger desire to sort of do that, to make these things happen in your life, and to kind of assess, what isn't working, what's not in balance right now, how am I not energetically aligned. And then so with the sun moving into Libra as well, this is going to show a stronger emphasis basically. Now, I would also like to mention that for you, with Venus being retrograde here in your fourth house, you have been going over everything with respect to family matters, home related matters, okay? Looking at your family relationships, looking at the ways in which you spend time with family, just even looking at renovating, redecorating, just all the home stuff. So I think with Venus direct throughout September, you're going to move forward with a few things. And then that can even be useful in terms of work, in terms of your health, in terms of the services that you provide as well, because there will be that sextile between Venus and Mars there. And then the last part that I want to look at for you here, Taurus, is the Aries energy in the 12th. Okay, so with the North Node there and then the full moon happening in your 12th house, Taurus, I think that toward the end of September, there's going to be this sort of, I would say, like a winding down or a need to escape, a need to be on your own for a little bit. It is interesting to me, Taurus, because I mean, you're getting hit with these, so with the eclipse here, that happened back in April, May time. So April, just want to say in April, there was that 29-degree eclipse in Aries that took place in your 12th house, and then opening Aries season, there was the new moon in Aries, and then there's going to be the full moon in Aries. So yeah, a lot of activity going on in the 12th, pointing toward greater need for rest and relaxation and just needing to take it easy. And do you know what, as well, the final thing I want to say for you, Taurus, I just think that there's such a big focus on reassessing your goals here, reassessing what your priorities are, going behind the scenes and kind of going, right, okay, what are my motivations? What are my true intentions? What is it that I want? Even the North Node being in Aries for you over the past couple of years, whew, that is going to be so much about, okay, what do I want? And you may have many visions, many dreams about such things. Hello, Faraya, is that how you pronounce your name? If not, I do apologize. But hello to you. Okay, going to take some water. Okay, Gemini. Okay, I like this. I like this little way of doing it. I like that I'm sticking to more of a plan, because sometimes, I feel like, anyway, I'm not going to explain. Just come on, focus, Hannah. Focus. Should I blame the Pisces energy? Should I blame it? No. No. Yes. No. Just okay. Gemini. Okay, Gemini. So throughout Virgo season for you, there will be much of it. So Virgo season leading into September, there is a stronger focus here on all of the daily matters that you're doing within the home, all of the reorganizing, okay, looking at redecorating, looking at how you can clean, getting into all those little cracks and crannies in your home, and thinking, oh, I haven't done that in a while. Maybe I should. Maybe I should. Maybe you should, Gemini. No, but seriously, there's just something here about so much of a focus on attending to all of your home related matters, okay? And looking at those family connections, those family relationships. And there's just so much change here going on for you, I think, with respect to family, Gemini. And then as well, let's think about pets, right? Virgo is tied to pets. So, it could be that there's something here about pets or reconsidering. um, do you want a pet? Do you not want a pet? The pets that you already do have, how do you look after them? Maybe conversations surrounding pets happening for you. And then also with Mercury retrograde there, I think there's more of this sort of like, okay, going back and forth, right? What's the decision that needs to be made here when it comes to a certain house related matter? Now, what conversations do we need to have with a particular family member? Looking even at the health of your family members, okay, considering even how you can be of service within your home, or how you can be of service to certain family members. Do they need you? Do they need your support? Do they need your help there? Okay, so these types of things I think have been coming up. And the new moon, of course, will happen in your fourth house throughout September, Gemini. So setting new intentions to do with these matters that we're talking about. And I think just in general, this is the important thing with Mercury retrograde happening in Virgo over the next few weeks, up until the new moon in Virgo, because you got to pay attention to what Mercury is doing, I think, because this is going to help in terms of the new seeds that we're going to plant throughout September. So yeah, take note, or kind of see, what comes up throughout Virgo season. And those things can maybe help in terms of what intentions you set. Again, for you, Gemini, this is looking at more of the focus on your family and your home, and even thinking about your own emotional security, your emotional foundation, your emotional needs. And then coming into Libra season, okay, Mars is already there. So throughout September, I think that you will be assessing the goals that you have with respect to romance and love and pleasure. And I think for you, Gemini, with having Libra in your fifth house, you're the types of people who you may love music, may love dance, you may love art or learning about different cultures. You may consider yourselves to be um, quite informed, perhaps, when it comes to culture, or perhaps you like ballet, you like even playing certain instruments. Maybe you're quite good at piano. Yeah, so for you, I think this is about you connecting with your hobbies, your talents, the things that you love, the things that bring you pleasure. And then even looking at relationships here as well, and looking at that equilibrium, or looking at the give and take within your relationships too. Okay. So Mars is suggesting that, but then with Libra season coming up, there's going to be even more of a focus upon these things. And then with Venus, so Venus has been retrograde in your third house, Gemini. So I think with Venus retrograde, this could be where you've been trying to become more informed in terms of a particular subject, trying to learn more, and maybe even just improving upon your communication skills, looking at being a more confident communicator. Of course, you have Leo in the third house, Gemini, and you usually do not have an issue with communication. It comes out naturally, and it comes out as very authentic, right? But I still think that there's something here about reassessing, okay, well, how can I gain more confidence, or how can I be more sure of myself with the Venus retrograde? So with Venus being direct throughout September, and then also with Mars being there and the sextile to the fifth house, perhaps this is looking at how you can maybe even contribute to a romantic situation because of how you've become more informed intellectually. Or this could be where you're pouring more of your heart into a hobby, into something more creative and enjoyable, and you're able to kind of use the skills that you gain from Venus retrograde and apply it to that particular hobby of yours. So that's really really positive, I think. Now, the last part I want to look at for you, Gemini, is the Taurus energy going, oh, sorry, my mistake, the Aries energy going on in your 11th house. So the North Node there, and then also the full moon happening in this sign for you, in this house for you at the very end of September. I think for you, Gemini, you are going through this huge transitional period when it comes to communities and networks and teams and getting people together, possibly being a leader within a team or a network or a group, or just kind of seeing, what's your place within it all, and possibly setting out on this new sort of adventure with respect to these things. And then so with the full moon happening, it could be that there's a release, a shedding, or things come to light, or you even reap rewards when it comes to leadership, or you realize just how much you are fueled by like being a part of a community, or how much you're fueled by being part of something that is bigger than yourself. Cancer. I hope you are enjoying these so far, everyone. Okay, so Cancer, for you, throughout Virgo season and coming into September, my gosh, Cancer. Let's talk for a moment. Let's talk for a moment. Because it's like, this is what's coming to my mind with this. It's like, who is being honest? Why are there so many delays? What are we not getting right here in terms of communication? Where are the wires crossed? Why is there so many mishaps happening, so many delays happening when it comes to communication? Why am I having to wait a week for a piece of information to reach me? Why? Or feeling like you're just not on the same page, you're not on the same wavelength when it comes to a certain partnership of yours, okay? There's that, or even just looking at small talk and how maybe for you, Cancer, it's just like, I don't have the energy. I don't have the energy to talk to people. It's like you're going to work, you're doing your thing, you're so busy, you're so active, right? Okay. But then when it comes to just the small talk, the chit chat, you just don't want to know. And maybe this is partly how you're feeling right now. Or maybe it's because you're so in your head, or you're so stressed, or you're so worried, and your head's just like going to explode because it's like, oh my gosh, there's just so much compressed in there. And I'm trying to manage it all, right? You have Virgo in the third house. So you're the type of people who you're constantly thinking, you're constantly trying to sort of sort things out in your mind, which it is interesting. It's so interesting because you can be highly emotional people, but I think a lot of the times people don't realize just how much you have to deal the things that you have to deal with mentally, right? And the thing is about you, Cancer, is that you don't like to burden other people with your worries. You don't like to do that on other people. You don't. And but the thing about this is that you're not burdening other people. It's just that that's perhaps how you feel. Okay. But yeah, I think, and this is perhaps a whole other thing, but this is just something I noticed with cancers. Okay. So basically with this Virgo season with Mercury retrograde, for you, Cancer, it's almost like you're having to shift through and organize through all of the many mental compartments. It's like I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about that, I'm thinking about that, and I have to deal with this here. And you're compartmentalizing everything. And so the Mercury retrograde, I think, is bringing up a lot of this stuff for you. And so this is why I suppose it is beneficial for you to take a moment to breathe, to connect with nature, tap into your body. And then with the new moon happening in Virgo in your third house, this is going to be a really good opportunity for you, Cancer, to set new intentions then. And I think even just let's consider this, right? Let's consider how, of course, Mercury is going to go direct throughout September. So, for all signs, there's going to be a lot of clarity when it comes to that Virgo house for you, right? We're talking about the reassessing, the revisiting of things with Mercury retrograde throughout half of September, but it's going to go direct throughout the rest of September. Yes, there's still the mulling things over, but with the directness of things, I think for you then, Cancer, it's going to highlight that, you know what, things are moving forward. And that perhaps the things that you're worrying about now or stressing about now, the things that you're overthinking now, it's going to become much, much more clearer as time goes on. So there is that. And then the new moon in Virgo, I think, as well, is going to look at this more, so more of a sort of calming, I think a sense of inner calm or peace or acceptance. Now, Virgo then will, so the sun in Virgo will then move. And so with Libra season happening, coming into Libra season, let's consider how, well, with Mars being in your fourth house already, Cancer, my gosh, just super active in the home, a lot of goals going on here to do with property or to do with housing, to do with family, maybe feeling like, there's just a lot of that there's a lot that's needed of you with respect to family matters, especially now with Mars and Libra. And the thing with you having Libra in the fourth house is that you certainly manage these things eloquently. Yeah. So yes, there's that. And then with the sun moving into Libra, there's going to be much more of a focus upon these areas too. But the thing about this is with Venus retrograde happening in your second house over the past few weeks, yeah, it's like the delays to do with finances, the delays to do with materials, waiting on certain items to arrive, looking at even your skills, your talents, not having much time to practice your skills and talents, to do the things that you enjoy in this way, or the things that make you feel calm and peaceful, etc. But of course, with Venus moving direct, this is going to be a good opportunity for you to then see, okay, well, this is about moving forward. And maybe even whilst Venus has been retrograde, it's been a good time to really reflect upon things, looking at your spending, your earnings, looking at your skills and your talents and how you've actually improved over these last few weeks, greatly so. And then with Venus going direct, and then with the Mars energy, with the sextile, perhaps the things that you have been revisiting with respect to your resources and your security, they are going to be really helpful and beneficial with respect to the goal related stuff to do with family and home. Okay. Then the last thing is I want to mention the Aries house for you. So you've got the North Node in Aries. You've also got this full moon happening in Aries at the very end of September. So for you, there's going to be a huge reset, a release then when it comes to your career, your life mission, your long-term goals. I think for you Cancers, you flourish when it comes to being leaders, when it comes to being business owners, being self-employed, when it comes to management. So, yeah, the full moon in Aries is going to look at a reset and possibly also reaping rewards with respect to these areas. Moving on to Leo. Okay, Leo. So, throughout Virgo season and coming into September, there is more of this focus upon your skills, refining your skills. You could be highly systematic people, highly detail oriented people. Perhaps you value the details. You value a good plan. You value a good system, Leo. So I think with Virgo season, there's perhaps more of an ability to flourish or shine within these areas. But also with Mercury retrograde, revising these areas, reassessing your schedules, especially with respect to your skills, your talents, the sort of crafty things that you like to do. Looking also at looking at experiencing greater calm, comfort, ease. So maybe for you, Leo, whilst it can feel like there's many, many thoughts going on just with Mercury retrograde, it's like, right, okay, I just need to try and center myself here, try and relax a little bit here and not rush so much. And then I think the other thing with this has been a good opportunity for you to uh, reassess the systems with respect to your finances and your earnings and your expenses, and looking even at the ways in which you budget, right? So yeah, this is a good opportunity for you to look at all those little details to reassess the plan or the structure in a way. And then with the new moon happening in this house for you, so the new moon will happen in Virgo throughout September. This is an opportunity for you to set new intentions, right? To plant new seeds. So that's going to be really beneficial for you. And then the other thing I want to mention for you, so if we come into Libra season, um, just want to say hi, Jasmina. Hi, hope you're doing good. Yes, so for coming into Libra season for you, Leo, there's going to be more of that focus upon, okay, how can you converse with others in a much more sort of balanced, harmonious way? I mean, you have Libra in your third house already, Leo, and you, it's maybe this is quite surprising to other people, but you really do value that give and take when it comes to conversations. And I think that you enjoy collaborating within discussions. There could be the whole thing of like, oh, Leo, it's just all about them and what they want to say. But you really do know how to shine the light on other people and compliment them and give them credit where credit is due, Leo. So basically, coming into Libra season, you perhaps may flourish and shine when it comes to your relationships in this way. Okay, looking at your communicative skills, even with Mars being there in Libra for the past little while for you. The past few days, but Mars in Libra has been ushering in an opportunity for you to, really look at, okay, what are your goals, right? What are your intellectual goals? What are your educational goals? Any goals, even when it comes to driving, when it comes to transport, looking at the ways in which you move in terms of your local area, your neighborhood there, looking at how you can be somewhat assertive, active within your neighborhood right now. Maybe it's like there's just so much going on when it comes to, going to the coffee shop or going to, I don't know where else, the garage or just whatever, to basically pick up all the grocery store, just having to basically do all of those more local area duties and tasks there. Okay. So a lot going on there. But then with Venus being retrograde in your sign over the past few weeks for you, Leo, you've been really, I think, reflecting heavily upon your purpose, your life path, the things that you want out of life. What has your heart been communicating to you? I mean, this Venus retrograde has been in your sign. And so it's been so much about your identity, your ego, thinking about the next step for you. Just a lot of inward motion and kind of saying, right, what do I want? So with Venus being direct throughout September and then with the sextile also to Mars, I just think that there's gonna be this this energy where uh you physically just move. It's like, right, okay, I'm going to get out there and I'm going to make things happen. I'm going to talk to the right people. I'm going to make those calls. I'm going to sign those deals, sign those contracts. I'm going to make that plan happen, that plan a reality now. So there is that forward movement there. Okay, so yeah, looking at those communicative matters there to do with the Mars energy in the third. And then the last part of this for you, Leo, my mistake. Leo, is that looking at the Aries energy, right? So there's the North Node in Aries for you there. And then with the full moon happening in Aries toward the end of September for you. Well, I think for you, Leo, there's just such a big theme of spreading your wings over the next couple of years, right? Spreading your wings, looking at further discovery, looking at how you can branch out, but branching out in terms of leadership, branching out in terms of your goals, right? And so with the moon coming along and taking place here at the end of September, this is going to be like a huge release for you, a huge renewal, resetting then matters to do with any beliefs you have, even looking here at the rewards that you can reap then with respect to further discovery, with respect to even long distance travel. Maybe over the next couple of years, Leo, traveling is going to be on the cards for you. Okay, so Virgo is next. Oh, I forget how much I talk during these. Oh, this is a struggle. It's a struggle today. It is a struggle today. Ah. Oh, it's very warm as well, and I closed the door over. I'm just going to open the window a moment, just 2 seconds. Oh, I'm going to take this one. Okay, it's very, very warm. Okay, so Virgo, moving on to Virgo. All right, Virgo. So this is your season. All right, so we're in Virgo season, and so coming into September for you, Virgo, there's just, oh my gosh, there's a lot here to do with your purpose, your life's mission, your direction, right? I think Mercury retrograde for you especially has been significant because Mercury is at home in your sign, and also Mercury is exalted in your sign. So this can be quite a strong retrograde in this way for you, especially coming into your season as well. Because I just think that this is lighting up anything that just is not working for you, anything that needs to be addressed, and thought of in terms of, right, well, what isn't working, and what can be improved so that I don't have to deal with it anymore. And that of course can play out in many different ways depending on the Virgo involved. But it could be something like self-criticism. It could be something like not valuing your skills enough. It could be something like your health, having to really look after your body, having to remind yourself to slow down, having to remind yourself just to be kinder to yourself. So it can play out in many different ways here, depending. I think Mercury retrograde for you, and then with Virgo season coming into September, I think for you, Virgo, just a lot here to do with your sense of self, to do with your identity, considering as well your aims, your ambitions, your goals. What is it that you want out of life, at least for now? What is it that you wish to achieve, right? And I think that these things especially are tied to your services, your work, okay? They're tied to any sort of educational programs that you're a part of, or educational programs that you really want to try. So a lot of reflection then happening with respect to these areas, okay, with Mercury retrograde, and then with Mercury turning direct throughout September, you perhaps will want to move forward more, or you'll be more willing to set things in motion. And then with the new moon happening in your sign throughout September, setting new intentions, right? Setting new intentions when it comes to these things as well. And then coming into Libra season, so with Mars already being there in Libra in your second house, I think something has really kicked in for you here, Virgo, to do with your resources, your materials, to do with your earnings, the ways in which you spend, the ways in which you save, budget, etc. Something has really kicked in, and I think a big part of it is fueled by balance. I mean, it is you, Virgo, and Virgo, with Libra in your second house, you need that balance. You need to feel like there is a healthy balance when it comes to your financial position. And honestly, when it's not balanced very well, that can really freak you out. It can make you very worried, very concerned. So Mars entering the sign for you, I think it's highlighting just this push in a way. And maybe what you're also coming to learn here, especially coming into Libra season 2, I think this is going to be even more illuminated for you. I think it's just recognizing how much, other people can be a part of your journey in terms of earnings, and in terms of, working together, okay, in terms of your services, your work, etc. And then with Venus also being retrograde in your 12th house over the past few weeks, and I know that this is perhaps really frustrating for you because you're so used to being like super efficient or organized or trying to be put together. But then again, I mean, you also get your moments where it's like it's not so organized, right? Anyway, that's another thing. But basically, Venus retrograde for you, I think, has highlighted just this importance to do with relaxation, right? To do with just taking it easy for a bit, spending some time just indulging, enjoying, and not necessarily having to be super purposeful all the time, okay? So yeah, just trying to take more time for yourself, okay? Looking at relaxation, recharging to do with the 12th house, perhaps tapping into your imagination, looking at all of those older kind of stories from childhood, etc., with Venus retrograde. But of course, with Venus retrograde as well, mixed in with the Libra energy, it's almost like, okay, so the financial side of it, it's like, right, okay, you're still waiting, there's delays, da, 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 da. But then with Venus direct, right, Venus direct, then with the sextile to Mars, you may see greater movement. You may see greater movement, or as Venus is still going through its post shadow period, perhaps it's like you're feeling more excited, or you can kind of see the vision more, right? You can see that vision, you can see the dream starting to materialize more, and that brings a sense of solace and calm, etc. Okay, so then the last thing I want to mention here for you, Virgo, is throughout September, the North Node, of course, is in Aries, all right, in your 8th house. And then the full moon is going to happen there in Aries in your 8th house at the very end of September. Okay, so this is such a healing time for you, Virgo. Okay. Such a healing time. My goodness, I think for you, it's been It's been about, okay, well, what do you want to do? What is it that you want to do? And I know that you can analyze things, read too much into things, become fidgety, become nervous, but that Aries part of you is there and it wants you to be courageous, it wants you to be brave, and it wants to, it's like, let these parts of you out, right? The North Node in Aries is such a push in this way, a push that maybe you really need. And you've needed it for the longest time, especially with Chiron being there as well. But anyway, the full moon in Aries, I think, is just going to point toward, okay, it is time to really consider, like, in terms of like other people's situation, sharing other people's resources, other people's money, loans, investments, being courageous even when it comes to something quite risky in this way, or maybe risky isn't the best word for that because maybe you don't like that, Virgo, because it's like you're still going to be sensible. But anyway, I think just basically it looks at being bold and brave when it comes to these shared resource matters, but also looking at intimacy, right? Even looking at settling down, looking here about commitment, vulnerability, being more vulnerable. Whew, heavy stuff, but also exciting here, Virgo. Hello, Nicola and David. Hi. Hello. Invisible Building. That is by the way, everyone, that's a business in Belfast. So definitely be sure to check out that business. Hello, Nicola and David. How are you doing? Good to see you here. Okay, I'm going to have a bit of a break before we move on to the final 6 signs. Been here for an hour and 45 minutes. How do people do it? How do people do it? It's just I can't talk for so long. Okay, we're halfway there, right? We got this. We got this. I hope you're enjoying these horoscopes so far. I hope you're finding them to be helpful. Okay. That was a Mercury retrograde comment. Oh my gosh, love it. I hope you're both doing good. Hope the full moon in Pisces treated you both well, and you had maybe a nice time relaxing last night, and perhaps also tonight. Okay, so we're going to get into Libra. Libra. Okay, so coming into Virgo season, Virgo season coming into September, you've got this 12th house energy activation. So Libra, this is highlighting, right, that here about wanting to escape, needing to be on your own, needing to just recharge, just to escape the world, not have to deal with it all. But you see, it does appear as if life has just been throwing you curveballs lately, okay? Life is that there's actually a lot that is being expected of you, and no matter how much you're trying to escape it or spend time on your own, it's like, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? Okay, so that can be stressful. But I think that Virgo season here is looking at how you can look after your health, okay? Checking in with yourself, checking in with your body. How are you feeling? What do you need? And I know that that is so much easier said than done. We all can live some super busy lives. But yeah, I mean, Libra, you have Pisces in your 6th, you have Virgo in your 12th. You're the types of people where it's like everybody just wants something. Like, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? You're similar to Cancer in this way, I think. Yeah. So I think the Virgo energy is kind of looking at a bit of a renewal, a reset, your ability to switch off a bit. And I think with Mercury retrograde as well, perhaps vivid dreams have especially been coming up for you, Libra, or do you know what? Perhaps even with Virgo season and Mercury retrograde in Virgo, there's something here about retreating, escaping, maybe traveling is another possibility here, or just, yeah, just whatever form of escapism you need, right? And even just looking at possible dependencies that you're trying to reassess. You're trying to revise, okay, well, what do I depend on? And is this healthy? Is this good for me? Is this nourishing? Even thinking about how you have the tendency of worrying and overthinking behind the scenes. You may be the types of people who are very much in your head, but just people don't, I think a lot of people don't understand just how much you can sort of go inward in that way. And they can get such a nice, sort of pleasing, kind, generous exterior. But yeah, the Virgo energy in the 12th house, it's like, yeah, people may not realize just how much is going on for you, basically. Okay. So I think Mercury retrograde has been pointing toward these things for you, and looking at a lot of healing. And with Mercury also turning direct, do you know what? This could even highlight that you move forward with a vision. You move forward with a realization, with a dream that you had, or you've been getting all of these synchronicities lately that have been coming up. And it could even be that with the new moon in Virgo happening in your 12th house, it's like, right, okay, time to set new intentions then. Time to set new intentions when it comes to your behind the scenes self, your hidden self, if you will. Looking at setting new intentions when it comes to sleep. Okay, sleep, rest. Okay, and then also your spiritual practices, right? The 12th house looks at spirituality or spiritual practices, also thinking about our intuition. So, yeah, setting new intentions when it comes to your intuition as well, perhaps, right? So, then coming into your season, right? So, yes, Libra, the autumn equinox, and yep, you're the ones who begin this autumn equinox journey this season. So coming into your season, of course, Mars has been in your sign over the past few days. So I think this has been ushering in some type of balance and equilibrium for you, some more harmony in your life. And just, I would say restoring the balance energetically here overall, and restoring the balance with respect to your identity and your life path. And then I think as well, considering what your goals are, and being somewhat of a go-getter, right? I think we're at a point here, Libra, where it's like there's been so much waiting, so many delays, but with Mars entering this first house for you, it's like, come on, like, come on, let's just push forward, like, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. But hold fire, it's going to move, it is going to move, because listen, Venus is retrograde, but it's going to turn direct from the 3rd of September. Of course, that Mercury direct will be, Mercury will turn direct by the 15th of September. But with Venus turning direct in your 11th house, so let's think about the 11th house. The 11th house can be tied to our communities, our teams, our networks, but also our hopes and our wishes and our dreams, right? So looking at our future, the sort of hopes and wishes we have for the future. So I think this can highlight that throughout September for you, Libra, things are going to start to move forward. You're going to see more of these rewards, or more of this forward motion, where it's like, oh my gosh, okay, like, yeah, the things that I've been hoping for all this time, they're starting to move, and I can see it. I can physically see it, and that could be quite calming and quite reassuring for you. But then I think at the same time, looking here at friendships, looking here at socializing, looking here at connecting with new people, being parts of different groups, this can be quite a useful time for you in terms of forming and building new connections. Now, with Venus retrograde, of course, over the past few weeks, you've been kind of reassessing these things, right? More so going over these matters. But then with Venus direct, and then with the sextile to Mars, it's like, right, okay, time to meet up with those people, or collaborate, or be a part of that program, or whatever it is, right? And then the last thing I want to mention for you, Libra, is the North Node being in Aries there. And then, of course, the full moon is going to happen in Aries in your 7th house. So let's think about the North Node for a moment, because that, it's interesting, because the North Node is in the 7th house, and the 7th house is the house that you traditionally rule. So for me, this is why I'm saying it. The next couple of years for you, Libra, is going to be such a transition, because if you think about it, it's like the opposite. So Aries, of course, is traditionally in the first house. So this is the opposite way, where you are really going to transition and change with respect to any people pleasing, any dependency dependency tendencies, any doormat matters. These things, they're going to change quite a bit for you. And then I also think perhaps just taking more risks, or just trying things that are new, and being brave in this respect, tapping into these parts of yourself more so over the next few years, which, yeah, I think can be very encouraging for you, uplifting for you. But then the last thing with this is, with the full moon happening in the seventh house at the end of September, all right, you could very well reap some rewards when it comes to agreements, contracts, business, right? Business deals, securing business deals. Or it could be that you reset the ways in which you do business completely. So that's a possibility. David, you said you did in bed last night reading at half seven. Oh, half seven, that's so early. I love it though. Reading. Oh, what are you reading? Oh, nice. Okay, so we're going on to Scorpio. Scorpio. Okay, so Scorpio for Virgo. So looking at Virgo season and coming into September. My gosh, Scorpio. So we're really getting into these final, so the top half of the chart now. So we've went through the bottom half of the chart. We're moving up into the top half. And so let's think about the top half of the chart. Let's think about how it highlights more of this being out in the public. Okay. Now, of course, there's more of the Libra energy going on for you in Scorpio, but let's consider the Virgo energy and how it's being lit up. It's being lit up in the 11th house for you. And with Mercury retrograde happening in the 11th house for you, Scorpio, it has been super, super busy and active when it comes to socializing, networking, the types of communities that you're a part of, which tend to be very specific as well. I just want to say that you tend to find these niche specific groups. So yeah, these groups that you're a part of, I think you've been spending a lot of time with these individuals, or perhaps it's that you've been reconsidering. Okay, well, what are our aims together? What are the goals we wish to achieve together? There's just been such a focus, I think, on teamwork, and that can play out in many different ways, depending on the Scorpio, of course. But then the thing about this too is, consider the miscommunication with Mercury retrograde. Consider anything that's overly critical or harsh, or consider where people are not pulling their weight, where it's not fair. And this brings us to the Libra energy. Well, yeah, it brings us to the Libra energy, because with Mars entering Libra as well over the past few days, it's almost like there's just this. It's almost like a subconscious part of you that knows, in the back of your mind, that like something's not fair, like something's not balanced right now. I can feel it. Like I can feel that there's something off here in terms of a work relationship, romantic relationship, a friendship. And you know what? It could just be here that you need some time to yourself. That could be it, Scorpio. It could be that with Mars entering your 12th house, you just need some time to consider relaxation, time off. And like, at the same time, it could even be that you feel kind of guilty about that, or you feel like you're letting other people down, because you do have Libra in the 12th there as well. Yeah, I don't think people realize just how much you like you thrive in relationships, Scorpio. I mean, you're the sign of shared resources, but not just like resources. Of course, it could be shared ownership, but yeah, intimacy, commitment, just looking at relationships in general. I think that people don't perhaps realize just how relationship orientated you are. So there's that. But just before we talk more about the Libra energy and its connections to Venus in your chart, the new moon in Virgo is going to happen in your 11th house, right? So that's going to happen throughout September. So you're going to be setting new intentions, I think, to do with these friendships of yours, these networks of yours, even looking at the types of teams that you lead, the types of teams that you're a part of, right? Setting new intentions. And I think the intentions are going to be very much aligned with, what is practical, what is what is useful, right? And speaking of the teams part of it, this is something that I think I said during the full moon in Pisces video. But what I find interesting about you, Scorpio, is the fact that you have the Leo energy in the 10th, and it points toward leadership, points toward management in terms of you were born to be leaders, okay? It's like this is part of your destiny, part of your purpose, your life path, all these things. But with the Virgo energy being in the 11th, there then is so it looks at the teamwork of it all, right? It looks at what is everybody's individual role and who's good at their job, like who's doing well. You're Scorpios are like the scouting, is it scouting agents? I hope that that's the term. I could get that wrong. Um, but the people who you can kind of scout to see, right, who's good at their job and where can they improve? What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? And I think this has to do partly to do with your Capricorn energy in the third house because you've got that like mindset, right? You've got the mindset of like, who is the expert here? Anyway, I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but I just felt the need to say that. I felt called to say that. But anyway, I think for you, Scorpio, with Venus retrograde being in your 10th house over the past few weeks, oh my gosh, what a process. What a process in terms of management, in terms of your professional life, looking at bosses, looking here at even employees and staff, considering what is happening with respect to your finances and how those things are very much connected to your future and your life path and your journey. And yeah, a lot of responsibilities coming up for you in this way, I think. Scorpio with the Venus retrograde, but with Venus moving direct and then with the sextile to Mars, do you know what? This is what I think. I think that this is going to highlight just a bit of a time period for you to go, I'm letting go of the reins for a bit. I'm letting go of the reins. You know what? I'm just going to let the universe, so to speak, sort it out. Or do you know what? There's another possibility of this, or another example of this is, why am I pushing so much? why, why am I pushing so much? I don't need to push so much. Maybe actually, I can give this responsibility to somebody else, and it's not my problem anymore. This is what I'm getting from this throughout September for you. But this leads me on to the last thing, and I think this connects everything together. What I'm saying, because you have Aries in the 6th house. Okay, so like I said, born to be leaders, Scorpio. Wow. Um, so the North Node there is in your 6th house, and then the full moon is happening in Aries at the very end of September. So yeah, this is going to be huge for you in terms of leadership and how you assert yourself with respect to work and your earnings and your finances. Um, and then also considering as well your routines and your schedules and the time management of yours, how well you're managing your time, how well you are organizing things, how well you are looking after your health, looking at fitness, looking at diet, etc., etc. So there will be this full moon happening in the 6th house for you at the very end of September, which is going to involve a type of release. A release, time to shed. Okay, time to let something go when it comes to these very areas. David, you said full was so early. Full moon energy zonked. Oh, yeah. I can relate to that. I can relate to that. And especially with you being a Pisces, right? Wonder what degree your sun is in. Like, is your sun at a degree that's close um to the full moon? So 7 degrees where the full moon was at. And you were reading Your Next 5 Moves by Patrick Bet David. Okay. Never heard of it, but interesting. I wish I could read. I wish I could spend time to read. Maybe that's something I could learn. I could use this as a motivation to try and read and like have an off switch to work. Yeah. uh, honey, you ask yourself this all the time. What is it you ask yourself all the time? I was speaking so much there, and I wasn't quite sure. I'm assuming it's to do with the Scorpio energy, but you're working on your diet and your exercise routine. Okay, I'm assuming you have that Scorpio energy, Scorpio rising, something like that. But yeah, hopefully you're able to get a hold on that or work something out that suits you well. Okay, so we have four more horoscopes to go. We've been here for 2 hours, folks. You know what? At this point, I accept that this is the way these videos go. They're going to be longer. They're going to be longer because these are monthly horoscopes. Okay. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. I hope you are enjoying your horoscope so far. So moving on to Sagittarius. All right, Sagittarius. What huge. Like there's just certain, we just see this. There's certain signs where I'm like the months, the months for certain signs are going to, it's like certain signs are going to get more active months, let's just say, when compared to other ones because let's think about this, Sagittarius, for a moment. You've got Virgo in the 10th, okay? The 10th, what? This is the most visible house, okay? This is the house where it's like in front of the public, professional life, public arena, very visible. So to have the sun right now in your 10th, and then to also have Mercury retrograde happening in your 10th, there's just been a lot coming up here to do with professional matters. Okay, thinking about the workload, thinking about your routines and schedules, and having to really readjust, having to adapt. It's like adapting to an old way of doing things or adapting to a new way of doing things, but it's almost like through the same frame of mind, which is older, like an older frame of mind, if you know what I mean. So maybe that's kind of made you feel quite stressed or overwhelmed or overworked, possibly, Sagittarius. Or maybe you've been having to just check in with yourself to kind of go, maybe I need to keep something for myself for a little bit if I am to maintain my sanity, this type of thing. Maybe because there's just so much obligation, so much responsibility going on. So I think Mercury retrograde for you in your 10th house, it's highlighting just how much you can review these professional related matters and thinking about the small steps you can do as a way to help yourself, as a way to look after yourself. But then I also think here that this can be quite a rewarding, useful energy because maybe you're going through the plan right now, Sagittarius, which is kind of interesting to say the plan because with Sagittarius energy, it's like there is no plan. I'm kidding. You do have Capricorn in your second house. But yeah, I think for you, Sagittarius, there's something here about going through the plan. And it's like you're it's almost like you're having to constantly reassess it, review the plan because something keeps changing within the plan and you're having to keep up with it. So maybe okay, there's a part of this where it's like, oh my gosh, constantly having to keep up here. But it can also be that maybe in your eyes, you're thinking higher, right? Sagittarius, you're always thinking higher. You're always thinking about the bigger picture of it. So you're still kind of reminding yourself of the bigger picture, or everything happens for a reason, or I know why this is happening, or I feel like I know why this is happening, and it's part of something bigger, it's going to be okay, this type of stuff. So yeah, just a lot of reassessing going on here to do with your long-term goals, to do with your future plans, and then with the moon, there's going to be a new moon in Virgo happening throughout September, setting new intentions then with respect to these very things that I'm talking about. It could very well be that you notice more movement when it comes to these areas as well, and especially with Mercury turning direct throughout September too. So more movement, things becoming clearer. Now, let's think about coming into Libra season for you, Sagittarius, right? So Coming into Libra season, you've got Mars there already in Libra. So over the past few days, I think for you, you have been focusing more upon your community goals, your relationship goals, looking at your hopes and visions and dreams with respect to networking. I mean, Sagittarius, you love to be a part of something that's bigger than yourself. You love to be out there just like, being a part of a community, this team where people come together, and it is very unifying, and people can have their perspectives shared and listened to. I mean, you're the ones, your smiles are so contagious. Yes, Sagittarius with Libra in your 11th house. I think that your hopes and visions are very much tied to being like these socialites, so to speak. Perhaps not maybe socialites, but just, yeah, getting along with people basically. And I think with Mars then entering the Libra sign, the sign of Libra for you, yeah, with the 11th house activation, it's more about, okay, I'm going to be assertive when it comes to these matters. And with the sun coming along, it's going to further illuminate things, shine a light on things for you. But then with Venus also moving direct, turning direct from the 3rd of September onwards, so there will be that sextile between Venus and Mars. So let's think about how Venus retrograde in the 9th house for you has been bringing up the reassessing of your beliefs or your travels, or looking at any plans you have when it comes to traveling, or looking here at training programs that you're taking on, further training that you're doing, higher knowledge that you're learning, having to just, go over a lot of stuff. But then with the directness of Venus, with the sextile to Mars, I think you'll move through September being more active about the vision, being more active about the future, or kind of saying, right, okay, I can see it in front of me. I know how to restore that balance more, or I feel a lot more comfortable in my decision. But it's all part that I think with Mercury retrograde and Venus retrograde, it's all part of this, right? Okay, let me just see. Like, what have I not seen yet? Well, what have I not noticed yet? Gathering all the information and the facts and the data, practical facts and data, useful facts and data, which can be helpful for you moving forward. Now, the last thing I want to mention for you is the North Node in your 5th house, and then the full moon happening in Aries in your 5th house at the very end of September. Okay, so let's think about the 5th house here. The North Node being there, I think, is highlighting being somewhat of a leader, or being assertive when it comes to your creativity, when it comes to your hobbies, the things that you enjoy, the things that you love. Okay, and then the full moon is going to come along. It's going to say, right, time to reap some rewards, or time to shine a light on the things that you do enjoy, time to tap into your inner child, looking even at children, like literally your children, okay? If you have any children, or the idea of having children, right? The thoughts, the conversations to do with children. Do you want children? Do you not? There are these types of conversations going on. And I think especially with there was the solar eclipse in Aries, the new moon in Aries, and a full moon in Aries. These so the child related area for you is it's active basically. Just in general, everyone, do remember that there has been so much activity in Aries in this way. So it is important to really look at your Aries house this year to see what's going on. Okay, so we're going to move on to Capricorn, on to the final 3 signs. Thank you so much for being here today. Oh, I can't wait. 3 more signs, and then I'm off tomorrow. I'm doing my autumn decorating. Yes. Pumpkin spice latte, anyone? Okay. Okay. Oh my gosh, I swear, what am I like? What am I like? I'm just sitting here just joking to myself, just being really silly, really goofy. Honestly, it's like I need to do this to kind of give me this boost, because I go into my head, I'm like, no, don't go into your head. You've got this, you can do this. Okay. Kiwi, you said yes. Okay, so yes, Scorpio energy. And David, you said thank you for streaming today. Yes, of course. You know what? I was going back and forth about it. I was like, I'm so tired today. I don't know if I want to stream today, but no, we're doing it. And you know what? I quite like that I'm doing it today on the 31st of August. Because I mean we're coming into the 1st of September tomorrow, and yeah, I love September. It's one of my favorite months, and I'm sure for a lot of you it is one of your favorite months as well. Coming into autumn and everything, it's nice. Okay, so Capricorn, let's move on to you. Capricorn. So throughout Virgo season and coming into September, there has been quite the focus on training. This is what I'm getting, Capricorn. Training, upskilling, getting better. Capricorn. Like, let's chat. Let's chat a minute. The perseverance of you. Just Capricorns. I do know what I love about Capricorns. It's like you climb a mountain, right? You climb a mountain, and then it's like, I'm on to the next one. But the thing, this may be something that is frustrating about Capricorns, but anyway, instead of just going, oh yay, like I did that, yay, celebrate, celebrate, celebrate. It's like, I'm already on the next thing. Was there any celebrate? Okay. Oh gosh. But seriously, the point being here that okay, sure, okay, Capricorns can also play hard. They work hard, but they also play hard. Yes, I know. But my whole point about it is Capricorns are just always moving forward. They're always moving forward onto the next thing. It's like before they even give it a chance, like they give it a chance to acknowledge, I did that. Like I did that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just like, I'm on to the next thing, right? What am I doing? What's the next mountain I'm climbing up here? And I think that is just it's I admire that so much, I admire that. So I think with the Virgo energy in your ninth house, it kind of points toward this perfectionistic side of you. Maybe perfectionistic isn't the word. Um maybe improving is the word, improving upon yourself, getting better, rising to the occasion, like overcoming. I mean, yeah, you get so many setbacks. You're the types of people who come up against the setbacks and the challenges. But the thing about Capricorn is that you're always going to find this other path or this other way, or you're going to pivot, or you find a way. And what I think, gosh, I'm just giving you so much praise today, Capricorn. I think I've done that in the past. But what I think is really remarkable, maybe I'm doing it because you don't get enough of it, right? But or maybe because I have Capricorn energy. I'm joking. Anyway, I'm being silly. But what I really love about Capricorn is like the ability to pivot, the ability to find a different route. If a situation isn't working, okay, sure, you can kind of keep at it and keep at it and keep pushing, and then it's like, come on, it's not working. You need to pull the plug here. Yes, that can happen, but there's such a way of solving problems when it comes to Capricorn. And Capricorn, you do so well in solving other people's problems and giving them really solid practical advice. And I think a lot of this is to do with the Virgo energy and the ninth house for you, basically. Okay. So I think for Virgo season, there's so much about training and improving and refining your skills, getting better when it comes to broadcasting, but getting better when it comes to your message, when it comes to teaching, when it comes to articulating yourselves. Yeah, you are the types of people, when you set your mind on something, you really want to achieve something. It just doesn't matter how long it takes, you're going to keep going. But this follows on, just to follow on from this is something that I think I lost a moment ago. But oh gosh, I'm losing it again. Oh, the thought, see, losing it. Yes, this was it. You're the types of people where it's like, it's not about short-term success, right? It's not about just getting, loads of money really quickly. It's not about becoming really popular really quickly or getting attention or recognition for something. It is genuinely about the work. It is genuinely about the craft. It is about becoming really great at what you do. And it's also about the long game. It's about the longevity. Okay, so that's something that I really admire about the Capricorn energy. And I think then for you, Capricorn, with the Virgo season and coming into September with Mercury retrograde as well, I think this is about you reassessing your beliefs, your beliefs to do with your mission, or the beliefs that you have about yourself, or thinking about, how much you can overcome, or how much you can do something, how much you can achieve something. And the other thing with this is improving upon your skills, your crafts has been a big part of it, especially your communication skills here, Capricorn. All right. And then with the new moon happening in Virgo throughout September, I think this is going to be where you set new intentions then to do with broadcasting and teaching and further training, learning more, gaining more knowledge. Knowledge is power, truly. So there's that with the new moon in Virgo happening. But then coming into Libra season, right? So Mars is already in Libra. It has been in Libra for the past few days. So I think for you, you're feeling fueled up about um your achievements or the things that you wish to achieve. I think you're feeling fueled up about the things you wish to accomplish. And we find with Libra in your 10th house, it's that you wish to live a balanced life. It's like Capricorn, you don't it's there's a part of it, it's part of a plan. The work that you're doing, right? It is part of a bigger plan, and that bigger plan is actually to live a much more balanced and fulfilling life in terms of taking time off, in terms of being able to spend time with loved ones, etc., etc. There's always a strategy. There's always a strategy. There's always a plan. You're quite calculative in this way, and I mean that in a positive way. So yeah, I think with Mars being in your 10th house, it's like, right, okay, time to focus on your goals, time to focus on your professional goals, especially here at the 10th house, right? It's the house that you traditionally rule, right? And then with the Virgo, with Libra season coming up toward the end of September, shining a light on these areas, illumination when it comes to these areas. But then get this, Venus. So Venus has been retrograde in your 8th house for the past few weeks. It's going to turn direct here on the 3rd of September onwards. So there will be that sextile to Mars. Now, over the past few weeks, I think that let me just note something quickly. Over the past few weeks, you have been going over or revisiting intimacy related matters, or shared resource matters, shared ownership matters. I think you've been trying to just communicate or see where you are in terms of um, your partnerships. Like those maybe there's perhaps those more serious discussions to do with shared resources and exchange, etc. I think have been coming up for you. And maybe as well, something quite emotional and something quite vulnerable has been coming up for you, Capricorn. Vulnerability tied to the father figure, or vulnerability tied to um, your inner child, or vulnerability tied to fun and play, or being seen, being included, being involved, these types of things. You've been revising and um, going over. So with Venus direct throughout September, and then that sextile to Mars, you know what? It could be that you really transform. You have been transforming throughout this Venus retrograde. I mean, this is happening in your 8th house of transformation. So you've been transforming quite a lot, Capricorn. So with these transformations, I think they're going to really help fuel you when it comes to the career sphere, when it comes to your purpose, your professional life. So that's really, really positive. And then just the last thing I want to say before we move on to the Aries part of it is with Mercury direct from the 15th of September onwards. I think this is going to highlight, that you're going to move forward with respect to the teachings and the training, etc., with those skills that you refined whilst Mercury was retrograde. Okay, so Aries. Aries full moon happening in your 4th house toward the end of September. You've got the North Node also there in Aries. Okay, Capricorn. So I think for you, the full moon is going to illuminate just how much you've been like carrying emotionally. I think this is going to look at a huge reset for you. Let's consider how the North Node is there, right? And this, I think, is pointing toward, yeah, sure, greater activity within the home, or having to be somewhat more assertive, or having to push forward within the home to make things happen. But I think this also looks at something quite emotional and deep, and um kind of like a push to release, a push to shed, a push to let something go. I find it interesting with Capricorns because y- there can be so much that's bottled up, like buried. Just, to think about that Aries energy in the fourth, even to think about the Leo energy in the eighth. Yeah, there can be so much buried, and I mean this in terms of emotionally, and I think with the full moon then happening in your fourth house, and even the moon activations in Aries over the past year, just so many revelations coming up for you, Capricorn, when it comes to your emotional well-being and your emotional needs. Also family related matters, right? To do with the fourth house. Okay. Triple emers. Thank you so much, Hannah. Thank you so much. Triple emers. Thank you. Thank you all for being here, for messaging, for being a part of this today. I appreciate it. I see that 27 people are currently watching, so thank you so much. So yeah, it's all good. We're coming to the 2.5 hour mark. We're moving on to Aquarius. All right, Aquarius. So Aquarius, where do we begin with you? Oh my gosh, can anybody say transformation? Okay, so throughout Virgo season and coming into September, of course, we're noticing here that the sun is in Virgo. We notice that Mercury retrograde is in Virgo in your 8th house, Aquarius. So let's go a different route. Let's think about how you've been digging deep this Mercury retrograde. You've been digging deep. Let's even think about how Mercury has just been in Virgo from, what is it, the 8th of August, something like that. I can't remember the exact date, but it's been there a good while, right? So yeah, you've been doing a lot of research, a lot of investigating. You've been reading into perhaps more occult like subjects, or you've been doing more of those like witchy things, those witchy things, paranormal things, right? Or maybe you've been just reflecting a lot upon, intimacy and vulnerability, and what you need in terms of your relationships. When it comes to your relationships, what is it that you need if you are to really open up and share? And perhaps as well, a lot of healing when it comes to your mental health, Aquarius. Like, so much has been shedding for you, and like I said, can you say transformation? Mental health transformations, like, that's huge. That is huge for you. And I think a lot of it even has to do with, well, for one, I think it's to do with finding practical ways of dealing with things. But also, I think it has required you to listen to other people and recognizing like who you want to listen to. This is the thing with you, Aquarius, is the whole frick. Okay, we're having a chat now. The whole world could be telling you, right? That's not good for you, or I really think you should do that. The whole world, right? And you're gonna go, oh yeah, 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 huh? Okay, cool, cool. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's until you decide, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because you think for yourself, and yes, you're stubborn, right? We get it. You're stubborn. You are mentally stubborn, okay? Um, you need to be able to make decisions up for yourself. You need to be able to arrive to conclusions for yourself. People could be showing you a step-by-step program on how to do something, like this is the way, and da 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 da, and you're like, no, I'm doing it my way, or you'll add a little spice to something that wasn't even, you weren't told to do that. But, oh, I'm just gonna put my own little spin on this. And that's the beauty of you, Aquarius. That is the beauty of you. And we wouldn't have you any other way. But the whole point of this, right? The whole point of me saying this to you, Aquarius, is I think that Virgo season is inviting some type of advice from someone, or this could even be just a thought, just a different thought, something clicking in your mind, and you're like, I get it. Like, I get it. I see it. I see it. I see it. That's so helpful. Oh my gosh. And it's almost like your whole world is changed. And I guess that's the thing with you, Aquarius, is it just takes for that little something to strike you in the right way. And then that's it. Your life is forever changed. This is the Again, this is the beauty of Aquarius. You just don't know what you're going to get, and you don't know when the change is going to happen. It just happens. And it's almost like you live many lifetimes, like different lifetimes throughout one lifetime. It almost feels like you are a different character, a different person. And I don't mean that in a literal sense. I just mean this like hypothetically, and I mean this more in terms of trying to explain the feelings surrounding what I'm saying. So basically, Mercury retrograde and Virgo season, I think, is highlighting just the transformational process, and that's huge, like huge, body wise, mental health wise. Yeah. And then with Mercury also turning direct throughout September, I think this is going to help you with so any ideas that have been coming up to do with investigating or research, to do with vulnerability, etc., etc. You're going to move forward with those ideas towards September, throughout September. And coming into, oh, sorry, and then also the new moon, I just want to mention here as well. There will be the new moon in Virgo, which will happen throughout September in your eighth house too. So you're going to be planting new seeds to do with these very areas that I'm talking about. So that's really helpful. And then coming into Libra season. Okay, so coming into Libra season, of course, Mars has already been in Libra. So, what has this pointed towards? I think that Mars in your ninth house over the past few days has pointing toward the part of you that is just it's more vocal about what your beliefs are or about what your views are. And I know that you can already be like this. I mean, you have Aries in the third house. Aquarius, you usually are not shy of telling people what you think, etc. But I don't know. I feel as if Mars here is highlighting just more of a push. But then again, this is the interesting thing, but this is what I find interesting because, yeah, sure, you can have this side to you, Aquarius, where you are so vocal and perhaps outspoken many times. But there's also another part of you. Maybe this is where the contradiction comes in with Aquarius. I mean, everything's a contradiction with Aquarius, but there's also another part to you, a side to you that is actually quite quiet. You're going to keep to yourself. You're not going it's like, why waste my time? You're not going to get into that debate. You're not going to get into that argument or that disagreement because you already know yourself that it's just not worth it. It's not worth it. So all of this is to say here, Aquarius, I think Mars in your ninth house, I think it's adding to the diplomacy within you. It's so interesting. Aquarians, you can be very much about fairness and being diplomatic and seeing where other people are coming from and other people's views, and you want to hear about other people's perspectives, but there is also this other side to you that can be so it's like cutthroat almost, where it's like, no, this is what I think, boom, and it can throw people off. But still, I think that Mars here is pointing toward how throughout September you are going to want to just be a part of some sort of training program that involves being diplomatic or getting into debates, for example, healthy debates, of course, healthy debates, or possibly also looking at goals related to travel, right? Traveling with your partner, right? Traveling with your partner, experiencing a different location with your partner, taking on a different training program that involves collaboration, it involves business, right? That's another possibility with this. And then also coming into Libra season, it's going to illuminate these qualities, illuminate these themes for you, shine a light on these themes. But I just want to remind you that Venus has been retrograde in your seventh house. So over the past few weeks, yeah, I think for you, you've been tapping into the part of yourself that recognizes, do you know what, do like being noticed. um, I do like being in the spotlight. I do like other people like giving me praise and recognizing me. I actually do value that. It's so interesting how often, with Aquarius, it can almost feel like you're so group orientated, you're so focused on everybody else that it's like, oh, don't put the light on me, but really you have this part of your personality, this side to your personality that can shine in this way, or can um be center stage, let's say, with the Leo archetype. So I think Venus retrograde has perhaps brought up these themes. You're sort of reflecting upon, how do I wish to collaborate with others, or how often do I put the focus on me? How often do I put the focus on other people? Do I sometimes put the focus on other people because I don't want to be seen, or I don't want people to see, the parts of myself that I'm ashamed of, or the parts of myself that I don't like, just reflecting a lot. Possibly as well doing a lot of reflecting with respect to business and friendships and partnerships just in general. But then with Venus direct throughout September, and then with the sextile to Mars, I think that there's something here about you moving forward with a group, or with a collaboration of some sort. Moving forward in terms of, okay, travel experience, possibly an agreement, a contract that you sign, some type of mediation you're a part of, or some type of business plan that you wish to explore more with somebody else, even looking at possibly marriage or proposals or weddings, all these types of things. Looking at the whole child conversation to do with Leo. Yeah. Okay, so let's now move on to the final part of this, which is Aries. So you have, like I said, you've got Aries in the third house, and you've got the North Node there. And then also the full moon is going to happen in your third house at the very end of September. So do you know what? I think actually the North Node here in your third house is highlighting, okay, this is time. It is time to be more vocal. It is time to express your opinions. um it's time to be assertive when it comes to conversations, especially with respect to your needs, your emotional needs, with respect to your wants, your desires, etc. Yeah, taking the next couple of years as a way to really see, right, how can I just um how can I be somewhat assertive in this situation. Um, and then also with the full moon happening in your sign at the in Aries at the very, very end of September, perhaps there is some type of release here. There's a shedding of an old way of communicating, or letting go of something maybe overly aggressive or harsh. And that doesn't just have to be in a communicative sense. That could be like in a mental sense, right? Something about yourself, your own mental well-being that's quite aggressive and sort of bullyish toward you, and kind of, yeah, having more of a renewal, or letting something go. Okay, so lastly, Pisces. Again, I just want to say thank you all so much for being here. On to the final sign. Whoop, 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 whoop. So it's been 2 hours and nearly 40 minutes. I appreciate your time. Whoever has been viewing this today, thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Okay, so we're on to Pisces. And I think my partner just got home there as well, so that should be nice. Come off, chill, tea. Okay. Okay. All right, so Pisces. So this is an interesting one because, of course, Virgo is opposite you. So, do you know what? Maybe a good way to come at this for you, Pisces, is to firstly think about what's happening in the first house before we go over to your seventh house. Okay. So, yes, David, I will say, I will let him know. So let's think about how with Saturn being retrograde in your first house, even just with Saturn in your first house in general, I mean, this is highlighting greater responsibility for you, or having to mature, so to speak, having to grow up, so to speak, or realizing, what your long-term goals really are, and having more of a structure, more of a direction. And I know that that can be kind of challenging for you, Pisces, right? Okay, so Saturn coming along, going into this super, super mutable, ever changing, fluid, no boundary sign, that's bound to be jarring. You know what? I think it's pointing towards something that can be, in the long run, really rewarding and really beneficial for you in terms of structure, in terms of direction. So, with Virgo season right now, and then coming into September with Mercury retrograde, considering even the oppositions that have been happening between Virgo and Pisces, I think that you have been really having to reflect upon all of the little things, all of the little mundane things that you don't typically like to manage or like to sort out. You're having to go over it all, right? Having to be honest with yourself about, okay, what needs to be looked at here? What documents need to be looked at closely? What information have I not seen yet? What information am I maybe not wanting to address because it seems overwhelming? But Virgo reminds us that it's all about the little steps, right? Little steps. You'll get there, just little chunks, bite sizes. And do you know what? It could also be where you've been turning to others for some type of practical assistance or practical advice. So this could be where, you're talking to certain coworkers about a certain plan or a system, or your partner, or, reaching out to someone, in a more business sense, right? So there's that. And I just think, yeah, the sun across from you, Virgo retrograde in Virgo, it's a good opportunity for you to just organize, right? Organize all of those little things. And to even, get back on track with respect to your health, or not even back on track, but just to get on track with your health, and to really see, is there any you know, routine that you would like to try, or any new methods. And again, I think that a lot of that has to do with partnership. It has to do with other people's feedback and how they can be supportive, how they can be helpful. All right, and then the other thing with this is the new moon is happening in the seventh house for you throughout September. So, that's you setting intentions when it comes to such matters. This is a good time to plant new seeds. And this is the thing that I was saying at the beginning. The really beneficial thing, and the symbolic thing, I think, about the full moon in Pisces, followed by the new moon in Virgo, is that the full moon in Pisces is the final full moon before the autumn equinox begins. Okay, of course, that's for us up north, and the spring equinox for those down south. But then the new moon in Virgo is the final new moon, but before the autumn equinox, for us up north, and the spring equinox for those down south. So that, I think, shows the opportunity present here, not just for you Pisces, but for everyone. And so if we are to think about you, yeah, I think this could very well be where you will set new intentions to do with these daily matters, these practical related matters. And also looking at any contracts, agreements, any collaborations, anyone you want to collaborate with. Again, partnerships on all levels. Okay. So, yeah. And then with Mercury turning direct as well. So that's going to be from the 15th of September throughout the rest of the month. So, do you know what? This could be where you're ready to make certain calls, right? Or you're ready to sign certain papers or documents. Maybe you've already signed certain papers or documents already, right? And something is happening, something's brewing. But that Mercury retrograde is, I think, is going, or sorry, the Mercury direct is going to be a lot more solidifying. Yeah, so it's almost like you're going to move forward with respect to relationships in a general sense, in an overall sense. And then coming into Libra season for you, Pisces, I think so. Let's think about how Mars is already in Libra. So it's been in your eighth house over the past few days. So I think that this is looking at goals to do with, so let's think about shared resources, shared finances, any loans, any debts you have to pay off, or any loans that you wish to take out, so that you can use it for a business purpose, for a financial reason, looking at investments as well. But the thing about you, Pisces, is you have the Libra energy in the eighth house, right? And so you, this is the thing about that I find interesting about Pisces. So the Pisces energy in the first, and then the Libra energy in the eighth. It's like yous are such like hopeless romantics, or you can be quite poetic people. Um, there's such a focus on relationship and connecting with people in more of a, not just an emotional way, but also in an intellectual way. um I mean, you can be such philosophical people too, of course. I mean, you've got Sagittarius in the 10th, you've got that Pisces energy with Jupiter in the first. So you can be such philosophical people, but you can be so relationship orientated. And I think you go through these huge transformations throughout your life to do with relationships, to do with commitment, etc. And so with the Mars energy, it's almost saying you don't have to do it alone. With these goals of yours, it's like you don't have to do it alone. And I think the seventh house and the eighth house being activated throughout September for you, it is so much about the other. It is so much about, hey, there's other support systems here. There's other people to help you out. There's other people to give you advice, so that can be useful. The other people can be very useful. So coming into Libra season, yeah, goals to do with shared resources, etc. But then even looking at intimacy, the balance when it comes to intimacy, the balance when it comes to that kind of that give and take, right? Intimately speaking. Um, and then what else could I say? The other thing with this, of course, with Libra season starting, it's going to shine a light on all of these things, okay, and give you more perspective, shed a light, and illuminate things. Then with Venus, right? So for you, Libra, or sorry, Pisces. My mistake being saying Libra so much. Pisces, for you, with Mercury retrograde being in your sixth house over the past few weeks, well, I think this has been, it's been a good experience for you to see, what it is that you wish to try creatively at work, or how it is that you can reorganize or restructure when it comes to work related matters, or looking even at those coworker relationships, or looking at the relationships that you have with your employer, relationships that you have with members of service, so people of service. So yeah, I think Venus retrograde can be helpful, has been helpful for you with respect to just seeing how valued you feel, or the value of your coworkers, or what you can gain with respect to coworkers, or just kind of going over it all, even thinking about recognition, or how much feedback you've been gaining, or even recognizing yourself, your gifts, your acknowledging your talents and what you have to offer people in terms of work and service. But then the other thing with this is reviewing the health stuff. Okay, maybe even looking at um whenever you are flooded with too many obligations or too many responsibilities, maybe that Saturn energy in the first house for you, Pisces, it's come with these extra duties, so to speak. And so maybe Venus retrograde in the sixth is kind of coming along, and it's reminding you of your health, And even looking here at the time off you can spend, any time off possibly, and things that you do in terms of enjoyment and spending time off as well. So reassessing these things. Okay. So then with Venus turning direct and then making that sextile to Mars throughout September for you. Hmm. Maybe this is pointing toward how, so the reassessing you've been doing, the reviewing you've been doing when it comes to work, these lessons can be used as a way to help you when it comes to the shared resource stuff, when it comes to those relationship orientated goals um, with respect to investments or loans or just shared resources, shared finances, etc. Those types of things. Or another possibility with this is how you've been looking after your health can even assist you when it comes to these sort of transformations that you're going to go throughout Libra season itself. Okay, so with the sun moving through the eighth house for everyone, there are transformations involved, and especially for you Pisces, these transformations to do with balance, these transformations to do with um harmony and diplomacy and cooperation and collaboration. So these types of transformations will play out. So perhaps, yeah, Venus direct can assist you in this way through those transformations. Um, Even with Mars also being there too. So there is that. And then the last thing for you that I want to mention today is Aries. Okay, so you've got the North Node in your second house right now, and the full moon in Aries is going to happen in your second house at the very end of September. So for you, Pisces, I think, well, firstly, with the North Node being in your second house, there is such a focus on, okay, so your personal finances, being a leader when it comes to your personal finances. It's like, it's time to be a go-getter. Yes, get out there and make that money. I'm joking. I'm joking. It can be many things, of course. But that could also be, where you're wanting to really make things happen when it comes to your skills and improving. You can, it's so shocking to me. Like Pisces, you have this first house energy, but where Pisces can be so difficult to pin down, and you can be so gentle and calming and you can appear so serene, Pisces. But with Aries in the second house, it's like, don't you dare get in the way of Pisces and their money. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. Because they will come for you, I swear. No, I'm just kind of joking right now. But I just find that really, really interesting, with Aries in the second house. Yeah. So basically, with the full moon happening in your second house, Pisces, this is going to be a good opportunity for you to, see, right, okay, what isn't really serving me anymore, when it comes to this whole thing of being a go-getter financially. What's not working, or what is it about being independent that in terms of you valuing your independence, what is it about it that's maybe not serving you very well, or maybe you even reap rewards to do with how much you value your independence. But then I suppose the other thing as well is that Pisces can, with Aries in the second house, you can make great coaches. You can make great coaches, even looking at fitness there as well with the Aries energy, looking at driving, looking at just being trailblazers, being people who are entrepreneurs, enterprise, being out there, front and center, or like being out there leading the troops, right? So yeah, the full moon in your sign, or sorry, in Aries, could very well point toward reaping rewards then. So yeah, that is everyone. My gosh, I feel like I give so much time to certain signs versus others, but it all came out because it had to. That's why I just got to look at it. And I always like to just be thorough. This is why I'm here for nearly 3 hours, because I like to be thorough. But yes, thank you all so, so much. Um, David, you said, let's go. Make that money. You said this is too real. Thank you. Oh, cool. I'm glad you could relate to it. Black Swan, you said, how did I start learning astrology? Oh, that's a long story. That's a long story. I could break it down quickly, but before I do, I just want to say thank you all so, so much for listening today. And if you did enjoy this presentation today, you can always buy me a coffee by clicking the link there. And the link is in the description as well. And if you're interested in booking a reading with me, you can go to hannahselsewhere.com. Of course, readings are going to be a lot more personal, more catered to you. But just to answer your question there, Black Swan, before I close off. So quick, I suppose, to keep this quick. How did I start learning astrology? So I was traveling at the time, um, and I stumbled upon a video on YouTube. Stella, the name Stella. I can't remember the second name, but YouTuber first name Stella, and she had a video about what I think about Scorpios or something like that. And I was like, oh, what's a Scorpio? So find out. And then I was curious, what's my sign? Find out I'm an Aquarius. And then it just started the ball rolling from there. And then I realized that there were planets and houses. And the more I learn about astrology, you know what? The more I realize I don't know. So yeah, but that is how I started. That is how I started. And I've learned from so many incredible astrologers on YouTube, incredible astrologer authors. I mean, I so a few months into learning about astrology, okay, maybe over 6 or 7 months, but I was working at a hospital. I was working in a hospital, and a coworker informed me that unfortunately someone had died, and they left books. They left a library just full of books, and they were giving them away. They wanted to pass on the books to others. So I was informed about this by my coworker, and he said that there were loads of spiritual books, astrology books, and I jumped on it. So I have many books in my possession which once belonged to someone who is sadly no longer with us. So I feel like it is my duty to keep the legacy, right? So yeah, I just wanted to share that. I think that story will forever stay with me, and I'm forever grateful. And I always say this, but I didn't find astrology; like astrology found me. If Kim looking for me at the very right moment, it found me, and this is where I am, and I love it. So I hope that answers your question, Black Swan. I could go into more detail. I know someone has asked in the past about how I've learned it in terms of exactly like what the process was like for me. Maybe that's something I can answer in the future. But anyway, that is me. I hope you enjoyed your horoscopes today, and I hope you also enjoyed the month of September. You know what? There's so much coming up throughout September, and it's going to be a lot more calming, I think. We're going to be restoring the balance within our lives. Um yeah, coming into September. David, you said beautiful deep story. Yeah, it's a nice story, isn't it? Yeah, it's a nice story. I always love sharing that story. It just shows you just the kindness of other people, kindness. And it was curiosity that opened the way. Oh yeah, it was curiosity. And then I've been down the rabbit hole ever since. Okay, so I hope you all enjoy your weekends. Have a lovely weekend, and I especially want to say bye to David and Nicola. Have a lovely weekend, guys, and I will let Josh know that you said hello as well. Okay, I will speak to you all very very soon, and thank you so much for being here once again. Have a great weekend. Bye.